are the babies of sa.neter. We are emulating the greatness of sa.neter, the HOK, the House of Consciousness, and the trailblazing work by the one and only sa.neter. And I told sa.neter because we your babies, sa.neter, because we your goddamn babies, we gonna be successful, bruh.
Stepped in this weed, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Tough in the environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. So one I mind, I'm all that storm rain, thick and slow. Jam on my back like a medic, been ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done wrong with the jungle, climbed out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing. I see my bread when I sleep, and when I wake from it, it's about to go down up in the street. We bout this shit, something. Sitting on my feet, cause I'm a man on that fix. Running, welcome to the HOK. We like the wind coming. No, we don't fly with the snakes, live away from us. Get them your last watch and see this kid gon' take from you. For the babies, get my heart and soul, make a way for 'em. I put my life on the line like I'm big phone. See, in a minute, we in a minute, some Popeye with his bitty. We keep it bottom moving like it's in. I'm right there back and want me, you can get it. I got that hammer homie like a way. Research, run that badger like a play. Bring it towards you like a play. I'm a with us, we straight. Step in this weed, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Tough in the environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. So one I mind, I'm all that storm rain, thick and slow. Jam on my back like a medic, been ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done wrong with the jungle, climbed out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing. They say that they ready for what we gon' get in the thing change. They living in nothing, the rope at their bottom, they hollering the gang, can't go in the bang, they killing the bang, bang. Take away for the baby, deliver the shit in the same pain. I gotta keep it alive, we clean them up, get them hot, we make a way to the top, yeah. I thank the Father cause he made a way. And all my haters, all stars, they do the fade away. Up from the gossip, the drama, the hate, they to the chatter. Oh, when they go down, they still hollering sa.neter. We go to war for them people, I'm talking young and old, toe for toe. Round for round when it's going down, blow for blow. Searched around from high to low, this info got a red dot. Sources in this clip, man, this might just be a headshot. Step in this weed, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Tough in the environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. So one I mind, I'm all that storm rain, thick and slow. Jam on my back like a medic, been ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done wrong with the jungle, climbed out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing.
Building and family, this is going to be a real special treat for y'all. We are here with not a native, but
an American Indian, misclassified.
Oh man, say that one more time. So try to talk up so they can pick you up too.
Sure. Yes, I come from American Indians that were misclassified in American history.
Now you know, through your attire, the way I'm looking at you right now, you look like a Native American Indian. She got the feather in her hair, her eyes. I mean, wow, you can see it right there, brother.
Yes, so my name is Youre. I teach along with my partner Top Cats. We do a lot of American Indian history. We also like to help people with finding their story here in the Americas, whether it's North, Central, or South America, or the Caribbean. I'm also a business owner. I own a holistic business that deals with helping out people with any kind of health issues. And I'm a mother and I'm a wife, you know, at the end of the day. So that's what I do for my people. And that's my journey and that's my mission.
Beautiful. So, sister, I have a few questions here that I would like to ask you.
Yes.
Hopefully you could bring some clarity of this whole situation here, or why you believe that you are who you are. Okay. And the first question I have for you is, what is the importance of genealogy?
Well, genealogy is important because I know there's a lot of people that want to push DNA testing. I understand the science that people are, believing in, and it has to be believed in. But for genealogy, what you want to do is you want to trace yourself, and you want to call your ancestors' names. I have been lucky enough, and I know many other Black Americans have been lucky enough to be able to trace their family through history. I've known people who have found land patents, they have found deeds, they have found war records, all types of things. I know for my great-grandmother, who is an American Indian misclassified, and rest her soul because she just passed away at 98, she was a veteran's wife. So finding out those benefits that you may come from veterans in this time period, you're not going to find that through DNA. You can find that through records. You can know where their graves are. You can pay respects to them. You're not dealing with mysteries, the gray area. So with genealogy, you do want to make sure that you are connecting. I know that a lot of people who build altars, shrines, and all these different things. That's really beautiful, but you got to know who you're calling on. And some people have been fortunate to find pictures of their ancestors, find the stories of them, letters. If there were slaves, you can find the slave records, the slave census. I think it's a beautiful spiritual journey. It's very emotional, and I wouldn't tell anyone to disturb from it by taking another easy way out.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So let me ask you, what do you assume? What do you think that is better, DNA testing or genealogy?
Well,
because I've been listening to a lot of the scholars, a lot of the teachers, and we tend to move towards DNA testing. Is one of the ways that you could really find out who you are, who are your ancestors, where you come from. Right. So I'm gonna ask you again, what do you think is more important for us? Genealogy or DNA testing?
Well, I think that for the Black American, we're in a very sensitive part of history where we have a lot of people telling us who we are, what we are, and where we're from. To drown out the lies, I'm going to say genealogy, right? Because I can tell you my fourth great-grandmother. My DNA test is not going to say my great-grandmother's name. It could maybe find a cousin, if that's, like I said, if that's the science you believe in. For me, once again, and for a lot of people who have found success in this, you have to know how to tell your story. I can't tell Jabari's story. I can't tell sa.neter's story. And sa.neter, I have heard that you do have Caribbean ancestry as well, similar to myself. But we have to be able to be honest about what our journey is. If Jabari's honest about his journey, I'm honest about my journey, we can tell the American history story, period. We've gone through colonization, and we're still going through colonization. Let's not act like this thing is over with. Okay, we're still going through something. So, like I said, for me, once again, genealogy is always going to be the key. Whether you're called a Negro, African American, whether you're called mulatto or colored, at the end of the day, those people have origins. If they were originated from Africa, get their names, know their names. If they originate from America or Europe, know their names. Let's not just know the geographical locations, all right? People travel. We were not just people that stayed in one area. We traveled. But know who your people are.
One of the things that I notice about those who call themselves Indians, Hebrew Israelites, Moors, etc., those who are of the Abrahamic faith and stuff like that, don't want to deal with DNA. Why do you think that is? Like, do you think it's some type of fear that they're going to be told that they are not who they assume they were?
Yeah. I think that's a valid concern. I do believe that's a part of it. I think also a part of it is our people never really trusted the medical system, period. So then to send your spit off, your DNA off, someone to tell you some ethnicity percentages, I don't think that a lot of people are satisfied in that side of it. And I think the other side of it is that people just genuinely want to connect with real people. They want to be able to see my migration pattern. Where did my people come from? Can I trace that back? Can I know who these people are? Are they still here today? And they're right here on this continent. So that's my story. But like I said, it's a little bit of everything. But at the end of the day, you are who you are. And people should respect that.
We call ourselves African American. How do you suppose we became African American? How did we become African American?
Well, there's a lot of theories on that as well. I believe that the African terminology is, I unfortunately, it's used sometimes in a negative way throughout history. And it's not saying that those are negative people. It's just that even calling the continent Africa, I mean, who called the continent Africa? You know, that was not the indigenous name of those people on that particular landmass. So I do believe that there's something a little more sinister behind that. And then to bring it over to our continent, so you come across the Atlantic Ocean to our continent, and you label all dark-skinned people African American. I don't think that's valid. You know, and I do believe that it's washing out the stories of the indigenous people that are dark-skinned. I do believe there's something sinister about wanting to take their land by convincing them that they're from somewhere else. And for anyone that's not honest about what we're dealing with, how we're still in colonization, and how there's people like, I'm very close friends with a lot of Guarani people from Honduras, and how they're dark-skinned indigenous peoples as well. And guess what? They're also being pushed around, scattered throughout Central America, South America, the Caribbean. And it's because their lands was taken in St. Vincent, and they were told they were just African people. So this is a repeated trend throughout the Americas where dark-skinned people are pushed to the side, told they're African, and now they have no indigenous birthright claims to the land that they've always been on.
Mm-hmm. Let's move forward for a minute. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about reparations. Talk to us about reparations. Are you for reparations?
I'm definitely for reparations, definitely.
How important is reparations for us?
I think it's one of the solutions. It's not the end-all, be-all, but I do think it's a solution for those that were harmed by people in this country. Some people that are from the Caribbean were also sent to the Americas as slaves. That's a part of history that no one talks about as well. Mm-hmm. Some American Indians were shipped from here to the Caribbean, South America, etc., as slaves as well. So a lot of people were raided for their lands and stuff. So I do think it's important that we do highlight that and how we can push that forward to reparations. But I don't think that the way how certain groups are going about reparations in an honest way. And I think that's why the United States government has been kind of pushing us to the side about our stories, because we're not being honest. We're taking one broad brush and we're saying we all went under that brush, and then when you go to the government's like, try again. Come back and try again. Tell me your real story. Mm-hmm. So I think that once we narrow it down who actually was done wrong, because you had people that were of color that were slave owners. You had people that was of color that were colonizers, that were colonists, that were conquistadors. You have to know which one are you in that story. At one point, you can't say that the planet was predominantly brown and black people, and then when we get to American colonization, now all of a sudden everybody's just white. Okay, that's not going to work. So you do have to know who you are in the story, so that way when you are going for reparations, you know for a fact, this is what happened, this is what we're taking, and this is what the United States owes me. All
right, before I go on with the next question, let me first give my brother Top Cat a shout out for making this interview possible. Shout out to my brother Top Cat. Brother Jabari, can you do me a quick favor, brother?
Absolutely. What you need?
I need you to go to the 12 tribe chart, because I want to see who are the people that pose to be the Indians according to the 12 tribe chart. That's what I'm looking for. So, okay. Sister, I'm gonna ask you as he's looking it up.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Hebrew Israelites?
Yes, I have spoken to quite a few.
Okay, now you know.
She's whispering. What does that mean?
Okay, now you know the Hebrew Israelites consider you to be Israel.
Yeah,
and a part of the 12 tribes. What can you tell us about that? And
I can't tell you nothing.
Man.
I can't tell you much about that.
So you haven't done any research with your ancestors.
The question is, do you agree with that concept?
No, I don't. I've done my genealogy. I trace myself to multiple tribes here in North America, and even in the Caribbean. No, I don't see a Hebrew connection. At least from my people, I don't see a Hebrew connection. No.
Who would be Jabari? Who would be on the 12 tribe chart considered to be the Indian?
You're asking someone who does not. I have not. I have certainly not.
But it should be there. If you just type in the 12 tribes.
I have certainly not memorized it because I don't agree with it. So I think that it's a little, it's a little strange. But I'm going to actually find. Did you see that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Does not want to leave me alone all over my face. Basically, what I'll do is I'll find where we would see Native Americans. That's how I'll search it.
Okay.
Because somebody will have done it that way.
Yeah, you're right.
And we'll look at it that way, even though that may not be a term that our sister uses.
Right. Damn.
Okay, so let me ask you, sister. You know, yesterday we did a show on spirituality.
Okay.
And so let me ask you this question. What is the spiritual system of the American Indian?
Well, that again is a very vague question, right? Which is why I wanted that to be asked. So, once again, you're gonna have to find out your tribe. What is their belief systems? For me and for my tribe, we do have a belief system that deals with the Turtle Island, that deals with the indigenous aspects of this particular side of the continent. Doesn't deal with any other continent, you know, in this case. So like I said, I can't tell you what's the religious aspect for every Indian. But for the Indians, you do have to know your tribe. What works for the Apache is not the same what works for the Wampanoag. What works for the Wampanoag is not the same what works for the Choctaw. That comes back into what I said in the beginning. Knowing who you are, getting acquainted with your people at a lot of these powwows that also deal with a lot of the spiritual systems that you are looking for.
Have you ever been to a powwow?
I have. I've been to quite a few.
Do they accept you?
Yeah. You know, when I went to, I'll say this. For the powwow, I can't speak for the Southeast. Northeast powwows, the people look like us.
Okay.
They look like Jabari's color. My grandma's Jabari's color. You know, a lot of us Northeast. As a matter of fact, what's his name? Dr. Abba. They look like Dr. Abba.
Lord Abba.
Not Lord Abba.
Oh, Dr. Abba.
Kaba. Dr.
Oh,
Kaba.
Professor Kaba Hiawatha.
Abba. It's all the same. But Dr. Kaba, when I saw his picture, I said, he looks just like my people.
Well, he'll tell you he's
He has
Indian.
Native ancestry.
Yeah.
He looks like a northeastern American Indian. A lot of the Narragansetts, Mohawks, Onondagas, the Shinnecocks, we have color to us, you know? So when you go to the powwows, you will see people that look like us.
Yeah,
okay?
you would be considered Gad on the 12 tribe chart. That's what they call it. The Indian is called the Gad. You would be of the Gad tribe.
Oh, okay.
You never heard of that?
No.
Oh, wow, okay.
Not even in my family, no. So yeah, I was asking, one of the questions was, what is the spiritual system? But my response was you can't broad stroke American Indian spirituality, because it's different tribes, right?
So which one would you find your home in? Is there an answer for that?
I would say I'm more so, I'm here in New York, so most of my ancestry is here in New York, which will deal with a lot of your Onkachong people, and your Mohawk people. We mix heavily with Narragansett, Nanticoke, and Lenape. So that's the little mixture we have. But we also have Cherokees that came from the South. And of course, we have a lot of Caribbeans. Like I have Africans in my family now. Definitely. My cousin's getting married to an African next weekend.
Now, hold on. When you say, because I was about to be very proud of you just now. I remember you saying you're not African in the video that we had.
Right.
And then I'm hearing you say, oh, we got Africans in our family. I thought you was going to say like your uncle, your cousin, or somebody.
My cousin.
But you saying somebody is getting ready to marry outside.
I have two Africans married in my family. This is New York City. Let's keep it real. We mix. We mix. And we see this, and we say you a brother and sister, right? So it's not a big deal. Matter of fact, one of my cousins that just passed away, rest in peace, my cousin Lisa, who actually lived on the Mohawk River. She's with a Jamaican who was a Rasta, and she was into Rastafarian. So she was definitely much into the Pan-African way of life, because she transferred to being a Rastafarian. My cousin, that's actually getting married to, I think he's Gambian. Sweet guy, you know. And I put on my dress. I get my dress made out there on Malcolm X Boulevard, because I respect the culture. My family respects the cultures that came into our family. So we're very multicultural, and we embrace all of it, from the West Indies to Africa.
So tell me, how can you prove you're an Indian without DNA?
Well, that's very easy. It's the same way how an Igbo will prove they're Igbo without DNA. I don't think they had to go to a lab to find out they were Fulani. I don't think they had to go to a lab to find out they were the Jawa people from in Asia. A lot of our customs we still practice. We just don't know we're practicing it. You know, it has been blanketed as African American black culture. But I knew because my grandma told me. When I was a little girl, my grandma told me we're Cherokee, right? I have an aunt that would tell you that, you know, don't call me black. I am a Cherokee. These labels and terminologies, I think because we're in modern times, they're more acceptable now. Back in those days when people really were trying to hold on to what little bit they didn't know, they did not want to confine or conform into this new amalgamation that was starting to form, right? So like I said, even though we have a multicultural family now, we come together as Indians, got Africans, got Caribbeans, you got all types of Europeans, you got all types of people coming together, we still know who's who. You can look at our phenotypes, you can look at how we dress. We have people may come to our wedding with a cowboy hat on, you know? It's about having the respect about who we are. So how did I know? My family taught me. How do I also know? New York State documented my family, and that's something that I showed on your show about how New York State was trying to preserve the first founding families of a lot of the towns here before it became a New York City. These towns in Long Island, etc., our people were vanishing out of them. But to preserve it, they did recorded interviews, recorded genealogy records that I can now go back and say, that's my peopledom. My great grandma said, yes, that's her peopledom. She know her grandma. My grandma know her grandma, and that's how it works.
Are you familiar with Dane Callaway?
Of course, yeah.
How do you feel about his teachings? Because a lot of Indians I know, they don't rock with him. They say he's a little mixed up. He don't know what he's talking about, or some of them say they agree with some of the things, but you know, what is your take on Dane Callaway?
I like Dane Callaway.
Jabari beat him up one time in the
You beat him up?
Yeah, he had to spank him because Dane Callaway was doing a lot of pseudo stuff.
I wouldn't say I beat him up. I'd say I eviscerated him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's be clear.
You didn't beat up Top Cats, though.
You said he ain't beat up who?
I was having a lot of respect for what you were saying.
He ain't ready
Unless
for
you
Top
saw
Cat.
that.
No,
I talked to Top Cat. I spoke to Top Cat.
Yeah, Jabari spoke to Top
Yeah,
Cat.
it didn't go well.
I saw the debate.
So let me ask, you saw it?
I watched the debate between those two, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, of course, you rolling with Top Cat.
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
But for Dane Callaway, I like Dane Callaway. I like his approach because I like the production of what he does. He does get people to
Jabari said the same thing. He said he do great production.
Oh, great production.
That's why he has a following.
And he know how to capture the minds of the people.
And there's another good reason why he has a good following, too.
Why you think?
Rampant plagiarism from Native American sources. It's been proved many times. Rampant plagiarism.
Well, see, that's why, for me, like I like for my partner Top Cats, the best way to go about this is do it with your own family. Because when you step into the realm of trying to paint, because we go from painting a broad brush with being black African American to now you want to paint a broad brush with being Native American or American Indian. You step into this gray realm of being pseudo, like y'all say, right? This community. So if I leave with my family, you can't not say that's not my family, especially if I have documentations that I've never had a Native American anyone tell me that's not my family. You know what I'm saying? That's not my type of realm. But I will say that Dane Callaway does a good job making people think about it for a sec, because we have heard we got Indian in our family, we got Indian blood, or or grandpa was an Indian or something like that.
Right.
So it's like you start to wonder, I never got a chance to delve into that though. So I say for people that's newly coming back into this, I think he does a great job bringing people in, and okay. I'm not going to take that away from him.
Okay, be honest with us right now. The world is watching. When did you realize you were Indian? Have you always known this, or have you learned it later on in your life?
I was a little girl.
Oh, okay.
I grew up right here in Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Oh, that's why you know New York so good.
Yeah,
you rolled through here like that. Yeah.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. My family, we are New York. We were here before a lot of people came here. A lot of people came here through great migrations. We are already here. A lot of people came through the recent immigrations in the 60s and a little bit of late 1800s, 1900s. We were already here. So I always knew it. You know, my grandma, matter of fact, we were talking about this. I did genealogy with my elders, and my grandma was like, you know, I remember my second great grandmother, Regina, and my grandma was like, she used to make the biggest cornmeal pancakes. A lot of people don't know that as an Indian, we used to make cornmeal pancakes. We didn't make them with flour. You know, that's a new concept that kind of came along. And she would talk about like our histories down in even South Carolina. My southern side of my family came from the Berkeley County Low Country region. I was able to trace them back to Virginia though, right? And they have a Cherokee connection. And we do family reunions. I think a lot of people forget that we do have something for family reunions. We do have something where a lot of us do keep track of who we are. There's this misconception that we don't know. A lot of us do know. We have obituaries, we have family reunions, and we're able to openly talk about our indigenous connection. It's not, I think what it is, and this is what a shock for me, even when I met Top Cats, was that I even told him I did not know it was so taboo to be dark skinned and to be an Indian. That's new for me. I didn't know I would get so much hate for even talking about it, because to talk about or to embrace my African side of my family, no one has ever questioned that. No one sees me with my Ankara dress on at a wedding with full of African people, and they say, oh, that you shouldn't wear that. But if I'm wearing my feathers, I'm trying to give thanks to my Indian family, it's like, you can't do that, you know? And I don't think that's fair. And like I say, that dwells into the erasure that's further happening. So yeah.
Shout out to my sister Phoenix Moon. I know you watching this, Phoenix Moon. Are you familiar with Phoenix Moon?
Of course.
Yeah, she beat Jabari up too.
Not at all.
You sure?
Not at all.
You ain't see that video?
Not at all.
I saw parts of it.
Oh, okay.
No, none of that went. But I'm listening, and I'm appreciating.
Yes.
Joa. I can say I'm listening and I'm appreciating the conversation with my sister. It seems very clear that she takes this very seriously, and she's done some research. The issue that I have, and let me start by saying, I am not one to deny that there are people who are of African descent in the United States that have Native American heritage. I have to say that out front.
Let me correct you, brother. Number one, she will tell you that she's not.
Yes, she knows what I'm talking about. I'm going though. Wait a minute, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Go ahead with it.
She got to say it. She has to say this on that. So that's there are lots of records of close relationships with those people who came here from Africa, who were brought against our will from Africa, and Native Americans. There are also records of challenged relationships. So we know that many of the folks in the 5 civilized tribes, as they're called, actually enslaved Africans.
That is true.
And some of them today, even some tribes, still will not allow those enslaved people to have membership in their nations. So it's not just that we've always had a positive relationship, although in my reading of history, I think that it has been primarily one. We've also had some challenges as well. Right. The issue that I take with some of what I hear, and I'm not sure if I'm hearing it from you. Okay. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure if I'm hearing it from you. Is that there's some people who say that they are Native American, that they are Indian, and they might point to a recent relative who says that they were Native American. And the thing that I always say to them is, that's not how lineage works. If you look at Jabari has 50% DNA from my mother and 50% DNA from my father. When I go to my grandparents, now I have 25% DNA from my maternal grandmother, 25% DNA from my maternal grandfather, 25% from DNA from my paternal grandfather, and 25% from my paternal grandmother. And so when I hear people say to me, and we all know people that have said this, I have Native American in my family. My grandfather, my grandmother told me that. The first question I ask is, was that paternal or maternal? And then I ask, follow this here, then I ask, did they marry someone who was also Native? How did they know? Then I say, well, what about the maternal and paternal side? Because once we go back 1, 2, or 3 generations,
Right.
we are now the offspring of 16, of 32.
Right.
And for us to argue
Right.
that we are native, sometimes I think that it takes a little bit of magical thinking. Now, that does not mean that I am saying that no one who is, I'm going to say it again very clearly, because somebody's going to misinterpret me. And I'm going to have to say it again. I am not saying that there are not people who are of African descent in the United States that do not also have native descent. I know that there are. We have very clear records of those who are.
Okay.
However, when I hear people try to make it sound, and I think I might have heard you say this, you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
that part of the issue is also that we were reclassified. Like,
Yeah.
for example, at one point or another, people who were darker skinned people were told that they were native. No, who were native were told that they were African.
Yes.
I hear that continually.
Yes.
And I have to say, as a historian, as someone who has studied history, I'd say even more than my adult life, who has a degree in history,
That's fine.
who teaches history, that didn't happen.
But you don't know my family.
Now, I'm not talking about your family.
I know.
It is possible that something happened in your specific
No,
family.
it's not possible. It did happen.
I'm just saying, I'm just saying,
You see,
I am
but
just
see,
saying,
That's why I said there's a difference between doctrine and genealogy.
well, I'm not talking about doctrine.
No, I understand. You
I'm
have
talking
a
about-
degree, so you believe what you believe, but I know what I know.
We're not talking about belief. We're not talking about belief.
So here's the thing. This is why I lead with my New York history, because I know a lot of these scholars don't know New York indigenous history. They don't even know that we exist here. They don't. New York City.
We're
is
sitting
a
in
very-
Manhattan. This is Manhattan.
Yeah, but you're a Pan-African, so you're gonna have an Afrocentric view of this land.
What does that mean? I'm a Pan-African.
You're a Pan-African.
What does that mean?
It means that you believe in the liberation and for your African people to unite.
You don't believe in that?
I believe my people uniting in Americas.
Okay, so you don't believe that.
I believe that the Americas, North, Central, and South, and the Caribbean need to take their power back from colonizers that came from the East and came and conquered our land.
But you've also said that you have African in your family.
I said I have Africans I married in my family.
Okay, so let's say Africans had married into your
Yeah.
family. You don't believe in Pan-Africanism. You don't think
No.
that they should
No.
unite.
No, I think Africans should unite.
Okay,
but I
so
don't
then-
think Pan-Africanism should be here on American
What is Pan-Africanism?
soil. I just explained it to you. Here's the thing. I feel that the African people deserve their liberations,
Mm-hmm.
right? The American people deserve the same thing, though. You can't. Oh, well,
We're not going to disagree with that at all.
Oh, okay. Well,
no, I don't think that
well,
we're.
Let me explain. I think the American people, we've gone through about 500 to 600 years of constant colonization. Some of the conquistadors were actually African people. You know that?
When you describe a conquistador as an African, you were describing the exception to the rule.
Oh, okay.
So there were certainly people, there were even people who traveled with Columbus, who we know were people of African descent.
Yes.
So, but to focus on them and pretend that they are the narrative of the conquistador, I think would be a little disingenuous.
To not focus on them and to make this seem like this is a white story,
Well, it is a white story.
it's not a white story.
Okay, okay. What language?
not.
What language does conquistador come from? The word itself.
And the Spaniards were actually,
Okay.
they were melanated.
The Spaniards were melanated.
They were melanated.
Are you talking about the fact that Spain was ruled by the Moors
The
for
Moors
900
came,
years?
The Spaniards were, look,
But they
you
didn't
know how I
displace
know?
all of the Spaniards, though.
No, so let's say this. Me and my family, right, in New York. Like I said, we're multi-tribal. Because of what happened, people migrating around. This is how you get all these different tribal connections here throughout
Right.
history. Okay. What we also have is a European connection. No one talks about the missing key and the missing link. That is your Black European. I know they exist because they're in my family. I've seen them in my genealogy. They came to New York with the Dutch. They were the Dutch. They came here as some of them as the French. They came here as the Scottish. A lot of the Black Americans do have Scottish names, Welsh names.
But that doesn't
Irish
mean,
names.
but Queen, that doesn't mean that they were Scottish, French, and Dutch.
what were they then?
It usually means that they were owned by the Scottish, French, and
Why
Dutch.
do you always paint black people as slaves in history?
I'm certainly not only
Well,
painting.
we were kings and queens of
I
Europe too,
thought
huh?
you had listened to me speak before.
They didn't call
I
us
certainly don't focus on folks
Dutch
who.
did not
I
have
certainly
black
don't.
slaves
Of course they
living there.
did. Of course they did.
So let me ask you a question.
I could walk you just a few blocks from here and show you the first Dutch settlement.
Okay,
And they brought
let me say
Africans
this.
with them.
Let me say this. You're going to tell me that in Netherlands never lived darker skinned people that were free?
Once again, you are focusing on the exception to the
Jabari,
rule.
don't run-
The
they're not
overwhelming majority of the people who were in the Netherlands then and today were people that we would consider non-melanated people. The overwhelming number of people that in the Netherlands, in Spain, in France. I'm not saying that there weren't Africans there. If you had listened to me speak, if you had listened to me, there's certainly Africans. There's certainly Africans. Trust me, I'm going there with you in a minute.
Okay.
So I want to say there's certain. I'm not saying that there weren't Africans that traveled to those places. By the way, for the most part,
did they conquer
for
other
the
people?
most part, they called themselves Africans as well. That's the part of the story that folks that are Aborigines always leave out, or
come
Indians
on.
always leave
Come
out.
on.
Right?
You're trying to control a narrative.
No, I'm not controlling a narrative. I'm unfortunately teaching history.
Well, I'm teaching you my
But-
family history.
I
I think that's where we're having this conflict.
So let's talk about your family
Let's
history
talk
for a
about
second.
family.
Let's talk about your family history.
I'm related to the Townsends.
Okay, wonderful.
The
So you
Townsends
mentioned
were in Port Washington, Long Island.
Okay.
The Townsends are also related to Robert Townsend in Oyster Bay, New York.
Great.
Oyster Bay, New York was also the home of the American Revolutionary War.
Great.
Robert Townsend, yes, he owned African people.
Right.
Or black people, because that's what they put in the books as African, but he wrote black, right? But guess what? There were also free Townsends that lived in upstate New York and Oswego, New York. Those are my Townsends.
Where does the name Townsend come from?
Comes out of Europe. That's the side that came
So
in
how
next.
usually when people come
Yeah.
and they receive European names
They didn't
in
receive it. They were.
they came
They
from
were
Europe.
always free people.
They came from
They
Europe.
came from Europe.
Sis.
Her name, you can look up the name
Sis.
Libba Jane Townsend.
Sis.
We used to do a parade
Okay.
in Port Washington. Hold on, no, because you can't.
Let's-
You can control the narrative for black,
No,
but you can't control the narrative for
I'm certainly not
Youre.
controlling a narrative.
So
I'm
you
certainly
can
not
look up
controlling a
Libba,
narrative.
Liba Jane Townsend. We used to do a parade for her in Port Washington, New York. Okay, the Townsends they do have a lineage that comes out of Europe. We also mixed with Germans, not my family, but there were other parts of my family distant that mixed with Germans. How do I know that? Because I found long lost cousins that are in the Puspatuk tribe that married my Dumpson family.
Libba
The
Jane-
Dumpsons were always this color.
Can I
and
ask
they
a
come
question?
out the Mohawk lineage.
Can I ask a question?
So you can push that.
Can I ask a
narrative.
question? Can I ask a
Go ahead,
question?
go ahead.
Libba Jane Townsend.
Yes.
When did she live?
She was in the early 1800s. I can show you my ancestry.
Actually, I can show you from heritage.com that she was born in New York.
I know.
But I thought you said that she came from Europe.
No. I said the
replay this.
Townsend family came from Europe.
Replay this.
Yeah, replay it. Because, see, this
Sometimes you have to jot
no,
notes
see,
and
this is
replay.
what happens when you don't
But-
know genealogy.
okay, so let me ask you
I
this.
clearly said that Townsend.
Let me ask you
Hold
this.
on, no, Jabari.
Let her talk.
She never answered the
Jabari,
question.
No, Jabari, I know what you do. I watch you long enough on YouTube.
That's wonderful.
I watch you long enough
That's
on YouTube.
wonderful.
You overtalk to stir a narrative.
Not at all.
I said the Townsends come from Europe
Then why did you tell us to look for Libba Jane Townsend?
because she's an example of the black Townsends that existed.
That is
Oh.
playing Fast and Furious. I was born Corwin Jacobs. Simply because I'm black and my name is Jacobs means that my family came from Europe.
I know they came from Europe.
I know exactly where the Jacobs name comes into my lineage. But I want to go into Libba Townsend.
Well,
You said you want to talk about your
I didn't
family.
get the Townsend last name through
So-
slavery.
so let me ask
that
you
be known.
this.
Hold on. And I've actually been to the Townsend Museum.
So-
I've actually spoken to the person who runs the museum.
Okay.
I have multiple museums that are connected to my family
Okay.
in New York.
Okay.
So you
So let me
can
ask
spin your
this.
narrative, but
So let me
you
ask.
you gotta know who
So
you're
let me
talking
ask
to.
you. So let me
Go
ask
ahead.
you. So let me ask you a few questions. And you want to deal with your family. So
Sure.
we'll talk about your family.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So as we talk about
Yes.
Your family. You mentioned that your grandmother told you that she was Native. I'm going to ask you the same question, Queen, because when you get to the second level of your lineage, you're talking about being the offspring of 4 different people who were the offspring, each of them of 2 different people. So are you saying to me that your grandmother, who said she was Native American, married a man who was also Native American?
More likely.
Now, is this on your, more than likely?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
how about, wait, I'm not finished the question.
Okay.
So is that on, are you talking about paternal or maternal?
This is my maternal line.
Okay, so on your paternal side,
my paternal, yes.
you're saying that both of those individuals were also
No,
Indian?
No.
So who are they?
That's not what I'm saying. So what I'm talking about as being an indigenous American to North America, we're talking about my mother's side of the family. And they branch off into being these different people that I just explained.
So can you tell us anything about your father's father's parents?
Yeah, sure. My paternal side, they have a connection that takes them to the Caribbean. Yeah.
So, and you're saying that they were the native people of the Caribbean, or are you saying that they were people of African descent?
They were also mixed with Irish. We have a lot of mixture.
Well, hear the question for a second.
Yeah.
I'm asking, because we're talking about your father's side now.
Yeah.
Your father's side wasn't necessarily the native people there.
No,
were they also
mixed.
People of African descent?
They mixed.
Were they also people of African descent?
No, they mixed.
They weren't people of African descent?
They mixed with Irish as well.
But okay, but you're talking about mixed. What is the mix? Describe the mix.
Because you have to understand, when you're dealing with the Caribbean, we're dealing with the Spanish first, right? So the Spanish
What country are you talking about?
We're talking about Barbados.
Okay.
So it's about Barbados, right?
Okay.
The Spanish is going to come. Who the Spanish is going to meet?
I'm asking not about general history.
No. Jabari.
You might misunderstand my question.
Let's have a conversation.
You might misunderstand my question. I would love. We're having a conversation.
Who did the Spanish meet?
We're having a conversation.
Check this.
But I want you to answer the question. And I'm not. And
Who did the
listen.
Spanish meet?
And folks, you would think that I was wrong if I saw a wonderfully, incredibly beautiful sister here and didn't ask her tough questions. I'm going to make her answer. I'm going to make her answer the question. No, you haven't. You're the one that has to answer the question.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
What were those people mixed with? You're the one that hasn't answered the question, not me. No, you said they were mixed with.
You want me
so who
to
are they
say
mixed with?
something, but
who are they mixed with?
But you're not walking with me. Walk with me real quick. Who was Tatumba?
I'll do that as long as you agree that you're going to answer the other question.
I got you.
You're agreeing you'll answer the question.
I answered your question.
No, you haven't.
You haven't. In a different way.
You haven't answered the question.
I think this is going from you hearing my story to now interrogation.
No, please.
This is what Pan-Africans do.
No.
No, it's interrogation.
First of all,
we can do it.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Let's walk it down.
But I want to say, let's pause for a second. Let's pause for a second.
Okay.
I think it's important for us. I'm willing to call you an Indian because you said you're an Indian.
You have to call me one.
Okay, I got it. I'm willing to do that respectfully. You came here and you said you're a Pan-African.
You are a Pan-African.
You haven't asked me how I define myself.
But I met you.
And so you've met me plenty of times on the internet. Okay. She's met me plenty of times on the internet. I have never seen this sister before in my life. I want you to hear, sa.neter. I want you to hear that I'm expecting this sister to give me the same respect that I will give her.
This is what dark-skinned people go through in life. We're never respected for who we are.
I want her to give me.
I'm not even trying to be a victim.
I want her to give me the same respect.
But I told you what my mixes are.
Because now you're telling me I'm a Pan-African.
I have a multicultural family.
You did not tell me what the mix was on your father's side.
I told you.
You said they mixed with Dutch.
And I said Irish. See, that's what
Irish.
You don't listen.
I was glad she said that. Well, who was the they that mixed with Irish? Who was the they that mixed with Irish?
Okay, you know what? Let's take it back. Because hold on, let's take it back. As a scholar, I respect more from you. As an elder, I respect more respect to a younger generation that is trying to tell a story. And what you're doing, you're doing something that a lot of us younger people, this is the reason why we stay away from people like you. Because you don't hear us. You're looking for something, you're looking for me to say something, but you're not hearing me, you're not even listening to me. So
What I want to hear.
You want to hear that?
What I want to. No, that's not necessarily what I want to hear. We started by saying that I'm going to give her. Let me finish. I want to start by saying that I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. If she explains that her offspring is only Native American, I will celebrate that.
No.
What I'm saying to you is, wait a minute. What I'm saying to you is that everyone watching is able to see that I'm asking questions about lineage that I have not gotten answers to. That doesn't mean you don't have. It doesn't. Wait, listen to me. It doesn't mean you don't have answers. That's why I'm asking.
I told you I'm government documented, and you're still doing what you're doing.
You can be government documented, but just I'm asking. I don't have your I don't have your documentation. I'm asking you a question.
You want to see?
You're being defensive right now.
Have you watched sa.neter's bill?
You're being so defensive right now.
Because it's my lineage.
That's why I'm asking you to tell me about your lineage.
Shouldn't we defend our lineages?
Only when it's under attack. It's not. Your lineage is not under attack. I'm not attacking you. I'm not attacking you. I'm trying to understand. And as soon as I asked a few questions, she got uncomfortable.
I asked you a simple question.
After not answering the question.
But I answered your question,
Joe. No, you did not.
This
is the build. This is the build.
All right, ask the question one more time.
I'm going to ask it again.
You saw are they natives mixed with the
As you know, when we get to the level of our grandparents, we the offspring of 4 different people. And they are the offspring, each of them of 4 different people, of 2 different people, then 4 different people, and so on and so on. So when I hear people say that they are Indian or Aboriginal or Native American, I listen. I want to hear how they quantify that. I am not saying that's impossible. And I want you to hear, I'm not saying that your lineage that I don't know is impossible.
The fact
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to understand how the sister that got in front of me got here in terms of her lineage. You mentioned your grandmother on your mother's side, and you said that she more than likely married a man. What did you say?
Well, I did say, okay, married, you're right.
You said more than likely. I'm trying not to misrepresent you. See, listen. Can you say this? Because Top Cats and I had a difficult conversation, this conversation doesn't have to be difficult.
Right.
I'm not here to beat you up or to argue with you. I want to understand.
Okay, but here's the thing. To understand is to listen, though, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. With my mother's family, listen, I told you they're multi-tribal.
Right.
One of my aunt's father, he came out of the Narragansett tribe. They came from Massachusetts. Everybody kind of migrated to New York at a certain time because of the opportunities of jobs, right? My great-grandmother, her husband was Cherokee that came out of South Carolina. There are Hawkins actually on the Dawes Rolls. Hawkins family. Ask about us in the Carolinas. This is what I'm trying to convey to you, is that not everybody's lost in trying to find out who they are.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
I was raised by my mother's family.
Right.
I was raised by Indians.
Okay.
If you saw my grandmother, you would say, that's an Indian. You would not say that's an African. You know how I know that? Because I've had plenty of people that met my family and they know who we are. I've never got this question until I got to YouTube.
I'm not questioning you. I'm not questioning that.
New York, let me tell you about the Hawkins family in New York City.
Did you hear me question her about her mother's father?
Now let me tell you about the Hawkins family.
She being slippy on her father.
A lot of people respect who we are in this city. The Hawkins family, some of your first black-owned businesses in Queens, New York. We mixed. We came from, like I said, they came from South Carolina. They came to New York. They mixed with my indigenous family from New York, and that's how we were able to expand our numbers here. We have a lot of famous Hawkins. You know the Hawkins sisters, gospel singers. You know Yusuf Hawkins, the one that was gunned down in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah, we are well known.
Yusuf Hawkins his family considers himself African.
And that's fine, because they branched off.
Wait a minute. I know that Hawkins family.
You're being very petty.
How am I being petty? Explain pettiness here.
I just said I'm a multicultural family.
Okay.
I have cousins
But you're saying that you weren't African. And now we're talking about a family that I know.
What's wrong with him?
Sa.neter, you know the Hawkins family.
Let me.
Do you not know the Hawkins family?
He doesn't quite understand how this works. Okay, my aunt, right? So my aunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
She comes from Indians, right? But she had kids with an African, right? He's Nigerian. My little cousins would be what? Half Nigerian, right? First generation, right? So wouldn't that be, I say I have Africans in my family, right?
Yes.
Yes. You sure you're not going to be honest to answer the question? Yes, right?
What What question are you asking me to answer? Whether you have folks who intermarried into your family that are African? I never questioned that.
Okay,
I
so that
hear
means
you.
that I have cousins that have different cultural backgrounds. A lot of mixing has occurred in New York City. I said that from the beginning.
But it does sound strange.
Here's the thing.
Can you admit with me?
Listen,
can you
at
admit
any
with me?
family function
Here's
that
a
we
question.
have, we embrace any cultural connections we have.
Got it.
We don't sit here and say we all just this.
Wonderful.
Because we understand there's a side of our family that's predominantly this, because this is North America. But we also understand there are people who are mixed in along the way. Africans, Jamaicans, like I said, Europeans. I got family members who marry white people.
That's wonderful, but I'm still not getting an answer.
Well, you want the answer to?
I'm still not getting an answer.
Because you're not understanding
and I'm trying,
how
and sis, Queen, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
You're trying your best.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah,
there is no sa.neter.
Because
No.
I feel like he's very emotional about that
because I'm emotional. Why would I be emotional?
Real quick, y'all. I want to say something real quick. Jabari beat her up so bad, and this is all facts. When she left, she went on video, Top Cat, to all the Indians, and she told everybody that me and Jabari tried to grape her at the house. Did y'all hear what I just said? She told people on the live that me and Jabari tried to grape her. But Top Cat didn't believe it. Top Cat was like, oh man, what the hell? You know, and that's why she disappeared, because she lied and got caught in the lie. So women do make stuff up like that. So we got to be careful with these women, man. Women do make up stuff. His brother's in jail right now for being falsely accused. And I'm not saying that there's none that don't do it. That's not what I'm saying. You got to be careful. Jabari will tell you she made up a goddamn lie. I mean, over just because of this damn interview that we did with Jabari and her. It's crazy, right?
About your family. What I'm trying to understand, whenever I speak, I thought your questions were done.
No,
so if there were more that you wanted asked, that's why I stayed quiet and listened, by the way.
You didn't listen.
Oh, I didn't listen when you were talking to sa.neter? Folks, can I say this? Can I say this?
You're going to actually put this
if you've come to sa.neter TV studios, you know that if you say something, even when I say something, people are going to ask you to support it. And it doesn't mean that we're being disrespectful.
Wow.
That's the way that we come to understanding.
So let me ask you,
sa.neter,
do you respect my documentation as government official as proof of who I am, or do you only accept?
Sure Jabari do too.
Do you just accept stuff like this? Because see, this is a narrative that's being pushed. My tribe didn't own black slaves.
That doesn't mean that book doesn't say.
So what are we doing? So what kind of interview are we doing?
Queen, this book doesn't say that everyone owned black slaves.
This says Indian slaves, and you know what you're trying to push.
There were black.
A narrative.
I didn't push anything. I didn't push anything.
The 5 civilized tribes had slaves. I'm not a part of 5 civilized tribes.
I got that. I had never even said you were.
You said that.
I never said. No, I did. I did not. I did not. I said that African people. I said African.
Hold on. What I think, sister, is that you watched Jabari deal with Top Cat, and you watched him deal with Phoenix Moon.
She coming in hot.
Right. So
she coming in hot. I'm asking her a question. She is not answering it.
But I answered his. Okay, sa.neter. Did I answer his question, sa.neter?
He feel you didn't.
Sa.neter, you know I did.
How does sa.neter know that? Stop. sa.neter, no. Here's the question again.
No, we're not doing that.
Here's the question again. And let me say this. And let me say this. That's true, right?
Then who was Tatumba?
You give me the name of one person? I told you most of them were annihilated, and you give me one name? That's my point.
Because you guys...
Can you see that's my point?
They said the same thing about North America. We were annihilated. But we still here.
Nobody said that most of them.
Yes, they did. They said when the When I was taught in
Jabari, do
school,
you accept
yes,
the
they
fact
do.
that she is Indian?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Look at that.
I will accept the fact
Well,
that
I
she.
can't accept the
Wait,
fact
wait,
she's
wait.
an
Listen,
African.
listen. I'll accept the fact that she
It
has
go
at
both
least.
ways.
I'll accept the fact that she has at least partial Indian heritage.
Okay.
I'm not questioning her
So let me
grandmother.
ask you, sister, do you feel that you have some type of African DNA in you? Or you saying you don't have no DNA of African?
Not to my knowledge, but things happened. I'm not going to sit here and say no, definite, right? People traveled. My people were seafaring people, right? Relationships happened. Indians were in Europe at one point before Columbus came. Corners all over the world. I'm not going to sit here and go definite, but I definitely don't respect people who are just definite African and they feel like they don't mix with nothing else either. I can't respect that side of the argument either.
Who are you referring? I hope you're not throwing that at me.
Maybe.
I hope you're not throwing that at me.
Maybe.
I have shown my lineage. I have shown my lineage very clearly. You don't deserve to hear it after you've been so rude. You don't deserve to hear it after you done slapped the brother who invited you in his house.
Come on, Jabari.
I didn't know I was coming to your house, honey.
Answer our question, Jabari.
Come on.
That's what this
You know, the thing that's very funny is just recently, and this is DNA. By the way, I agree with you that you would rather have genealogy than DNA. I agree with her. I agree with her. I agree with her. I think that most people would rather have genealogy than DNA. The problem is that the transatlantic enslavement trade made some of that difficult.
That is
and
true.
so to some degree what we've done is we've augmented part of the story that we know with the things that we don't know. That's really it. No one prefers DNA than to actually call the name of an ancestor. She's absolutely right. Who would prefer that? You're right. See, the thing is, if we were having a conversation, you would hear that there's some things I agree with.
I know.
There's some things I don't necessarily understand. That's what I'm asking you.
It's okay.
That's what I'm asking you.
Regardless of the case, I respect you, even as an American, and you want to see the liberation of the African people. I respect that of you. For me, as an American, can you respect me wanting the liberation of my American people?
What do you think I'm going to say?
You better say yes.
How would I say anything other than that? If I said something other than that, you'd be talking to someone that's not Jabari. Jabari's tied up in a room someplace. Exactly. I think that the people particularly those people who have been oppressed, benighted, need to unite.
Yes.
You know, but the challenge that I have, and this is, you're not going to like what I'm going to say.
I know.
It's not meant to be offensive at all. Because not just to you. I say this to anyone. I think that part of the challenge we have is if we're not clear who we are, we won't know what to do.
Right.
And so I think that there's nothing wrong. I am completely comfortable with people who have Native American ancestry. I have no issue with them.
American Indian.
I can say American Indian. I can say American Indian. I can say First Peoples.
Yes.
The term is not partial to me. I'm willing to call those people what they want to be called.
Thank you.
Okay?
We appreciate that.
So that's not the issue. The issue is that I know that for many people of African descent, this may not be you. I still don't know if it's you or not because you wouldn't answer the question. But for many people of African descent, they have sought to be anything but African for many reasons. And that is problematic.
Why?
That is problematic because part of the reason why we don't want to be African is because those enslavers removed our names. Those enslavers told us that Africa contributed nothing to the world. Those enslavers told us that Africans were less than human. Those are all the things that they did. And they conquered and pillaged and destroyed. And they still are in control of the resources of the most resource-laden place on the planet. That is our birthright.
Right.
That is our birthright. But if we don't recognize,
Can I ask this first?
Please, go ahead.
Do you think that same narrative is not also on American Indians? That we were killed up by smallpox. We lived in teepees. We never had anything. We had 3rd and 4th grade educations all the way to the 1900s. Do you think that same narrative is not pushed on us over here? As a matter of fact, let's go to Central America. Like I said, I'm very close to a lot of Garifuna people. And they're not even allowed to go into the city, especially in Honduras, to get jobs.
But Garifuna people view themselves as people from Africa.
Yeah, they call themselves Afro-Indigenous, right?
Okay.
But they're indigenous nonetheless.
Right.
Right? Just like we have a lot of indigenous Native Americans that are mixed with European.
Right.
Does that mean they can't come to the powwow? No.
Right.
Does that mean they can't come enrolled members and they can be of that tribe? Does that mean that mixing ain't been going on for the last 400 years?
But I'm going to say to you that
No.
part of what happens also,
Oh, okay.
part of what happens, you and I probably needed to have a conversation before we got here.
Probably, yeah.
Because I want to say to
'Cause I
you,
wasn't expecting
you want to hear
Jabari
something
here.
interesting? You want to hear something interesting? I
Yeah.
never intend to argue with people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I never intend to argue with people. It ends up being an argument.
Now hold on, sister, declare my name so you can go back and say,
Yes, sa.neter.
sa.neter set me up.
Jabari, okay, personally, since we're off camera, what is something that, besides that, like you said, you believe it's a small number of black people that have indigenous heritage?
It doesn't mean there's none.
Right. But do you believe that the indigenous people look like me?
There are some that do. Yes.
A lot of us northeastern people look like
Yes, there are some that do. There are some that do.
you. Louder than me. There are people.
There
look
are
like you.
there are some that do. There are some that do. Clearly.
So that's the point that we're making.
But
It's like,
but I
come
think
on.
that but it's when we begin to paint a broad brush.
Right.
Part of that broad brush is painted because of the dastardly evil things that have been done
Right.
to the name of Africa. I wrote a book,
Right.
a scholarly book,
Right.
right? 7 Little White Lies, a conspiracy to destroy the black self-image. There is a conspiracy to annihilate people of African descent, and it has occurred for a really long time in the law. It's occurred in the attempt to actually literally control the reproductive lives of black women and men. Really good book I just started reading called
But what about
Rethinking Rufus.
us? You live in New York. I'm sure you don't know that tribes like the Shinnecock are dueling in tribal numbers.
Did you know? You never asked me if I had been to a powwow because you assume that because I'm
Jabari,
wearing
we should
an
have had a
African
conversation.
outfit that I would never have gone.
Okay, but
See, I think that you're seeing a two-dimensional character. And it's because I beat up Top Cat. Top Cat got
didn't beat
the
up
brakes
Top
beat
Cat.
off of that, brother.
Stop it.
Please, look at the.
But
Just,
Jabari,
there was a poll taken, you know. Okay.
but that's
You don't wanna see the poll.
That was home field.
You don't want to see the poll.
That was home fun.
You don't want to see the poll.
But here's the thing, Jabari. This is what I'm saying though. Like, you should know that especially in the Northeast, the people look like us. Now, when you get more into the
Well, some of them do, not everybody, but some of them
but
do.
yes, we range from different, and yet understand it's over 400 years of colonization.
Sure.
So that means that there's raping, there's pillaging, there's
Absolutely.
lands being taken. Okay then.
There's
So
no disagreement
means
with that.
There's also a whitewashing of tribes that's occurring. You cannot. See, that's my thing. There's not an honesty here. When you see all of the depictions of the people they saw when they came off the boats from Europe, the people look like me. And then now you see those people, they lighter.
I
And they're
want
the
you
ones
to-
running the tribe. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a prime example. Right? Shout out to Lil Albert, like I said. Because he tried to get this Native American girl to battle me on
You
Twitter.
said Lord Abba?
Lord Abba.
Okay.
Yes.
Now she's saying Lord Abba.
Now you say
Naeem,
Lord.
yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got Dr. Cab, I get their names mixed up. Naeem, yes. He tried to get a girl to battle me on Twitter, calling me a pretendian. She's a pretendian.
pretendian?
A pretendian. So
Oh, man.
the girl is.
You never heard that term before?
No.
No, really?
Now
Oh,
you
wow.
see I didn't use it
Well, no, that
because
term
my
is-
goal is not to offend you.
No, that term is for white people. It wasn't for us. And see, that's where people take things out of context,
Exactly.
right?
We'll get back to
All
the
right.
story.
So, anyways, the girl, she asks me a question. She's like, "Why are you posting those photos?" I was posting my Dumpson family. I showed you on the show. I said, that's my family. That's my great grandma family. She said, "Well, that's my family too. So why are you posting this photo?" Mind you,
This is a this is a white lady that year?
she's
Okay.
light skinned, very light skinned,
But she's white. You're not sure if
She's
she's
not
white.
white.
Okay.
There's a lot of white passing people. She's not white. You look a little Hispanic, but she's light.
Right.
Anyways, so we get into a back and forth about the Puspatuck tribe and the Shinnecocks and how she was telling me how that's her family and that I'm claiming something I'm not. So I posted my ancestry record. I showed her my ancestor on your show, Aaron Dumpson. She sent me a private message. She says, "Oh my God, I did not know we were family." She actually sent me a long apology because she thought I was one of those people false claiming. And because of, I don't know what that dude, Lord Albert, told her, But she said, I'm so sorry. I never want to fight with family ever again.
But there are a lot of people who are false claiming.
Hold on. I know, I get it. But that's why I said I can't speak for everybody who's trying to take this journey and they can't really prove it. You know what I'm saying? But for someone like myself, I do want to speak for the people and let people know we do exist.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that live in New York City right now. They don't know about Indian country, New York. All they know is brick buildings, concrete, and I don't know, and pizza. That they think that's New York culture.
I don't know. There are a lot of New Yorkers that be at those powwows in Staten Island.
That's not true.
I went for many years. Of course I've been to powwows.
Not true. The powwows are always, they're not big. Well, they're not big.
Now
powwows.
listen, you tried to insult me by saying I was
not
old.
big powwows.
I might have been there before you were, Queen.
But they're not big powwows.
The powwow on Staten Island that I attended every year for at least 3 years. Every year, right? I have friends that are part of that group.
Tell me to come through.
Yeah.
This is before you and I were even knew each other, brother. I was attending there in the 90s.
But they're not big, and they're dwindling.
There was like 500 people there. That's a big
That's
event.
at the time you went.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
It's dwindling. I went to quite a few powwows.
But there was a lot of looky-loos.
not-
Let's say that. There was a lot of looky-loos. You know what I mean? It was just like,
I
what
can't.
they doing? This is cool.
I can't.
And that was cool. That was cool.
But you got to be honest. Most of the people that come to the powwow, they're not of that tribe. They're coming to enjoy the experience of seeing native people.
I'm sure that's true.
That is true.
I'm sure that's true.
As I said, the members, the people who actually say I have a bloodline to this particular tribal powwow, that number's small. But these people have to make money, right? I agree with certain tribes. Certain tribes say they don't want to do powwows because they don't want to be a cosplay. They don't want to put on a show.
Of course.
For colonizers.
Of course.
I respect that too, right?
Of course.
But at the end of the day, it's like, without a powwow, it's like you have to go through this extra loop and loop to prove who you are. You got people like, let's say, shout out to Shanae Bullock, who is Shinnecock, and she's darker than me, and she's beautiful. You
What
know,
are some of the things they do at powwows?
I mean, you got the spirit dance. And you know what's interesting though? When I went to the Shinnecock powwow,
I've been to Shinnecock powwow.
yes, they were serving soul
Why
food.
did you go, Jabari?
Because as a person,
You was doing liquor ship?
yeah, no, actually I was going in the 90s, so I was there with
you thought that
I was
maybe
there.
you could be
Now
a
see,
Indian.
you're not filming this, are you?
Yes.
He's filming it. I was there with a sister, let's put it that way.
Was she indigenous?
Yeah, she said she was. I still don't know about her background exactly. But that's why I was there. But that I certainly did. That's why I went to the Shinnecock powwow. I've been to other powwows as well. Because when I think that we get to see people who are nature-based, who have a connection to the earth, and they're having their ceremonies, and they in many ways inspire others of us who are not of that particular cultural iteration, that have a similar view on the earth. And so for that reason, I wanted to celebrate with them. I wanted to support them. I wanted to spend money there.
Saying, what are the activities that they do?
She mentioned the spirit dance.
Dancing.
She mentioned
You had the ring of fire.
tons of food.
They're burning
the
fire.
dancing and all that?
No, well, they have it. The way how they have it set up now is it's a set performance that occurs.
What?
Yeah. No.
I danced with the Shinnecock.
You were in the middle.
Oh, you better believe I was.
What?
You better believe I was.
Yeah, more
There's a
Indian
picture
than me.
somewhere. There's a picture somewhere with
Are you-
Jabari
are you
with hair dancing.
Do you have indigenous heritage here?
I do.
Which
It's very small. It's very, very small.
Okay.
But you should know. It's not that I don't. It's not that I don't accept it. It's not that I don't accept it. But the way that if you look at the majority of my DNA, what you will see is that I am primarily an African who was brought to the Americas, in the Caribbean, in South America, and also in the United States, as an enslaved person.
What do you think
And then we
about-
intermarried with other people.
What do you think-
And in terms of the Youre and DNA, you got to hear this. I'm not counting those crackers that had something to do with our women. I don't count them.
Yeah, right.
I don't count them.
Okay, so what about
So
this?
why
What do you
say
think
crackers?
about?
Why did you tone it down like they was around? You said, I don't.
Now, you know very well that when Jabari speaks, I rarely use pejorative terms.
Right.
That's as pejorative as you have probably ever
So
heard
what
me
about
use.
the Native Americans when they take their DNA test? So I've heard they come back as predominantly Asian. Should they still be called indigenous to this land?
I think that when DNA is taken, if we believe that the folks that are It depends on which test you take, I guess, is the best, fastest answer I can give you. Because, because it's proprietary, the challenge that we have is we don't know exactly how large their database is. So if they don't have a large database, then they may not have a clear understanding. Now, I'm going to tell you, Ancestry.com got a gigantic database. Gigantic.
It's still pending for the Southeast.
It's gigantic. You have to look at the numbers.
They don't have a good database for Northeast or Southeast.
Have you looked at the numbers?
It just came out with an article.
Okay.
That said they're expanding their genetic markers. But this is the thing. Think about that. The Native American. Oh, yeah.
She's going to have to show me the article. I don't just... she got this because Jabari is Jabari. You know this already.
The Native American, they take their ancestry test. And in fact, there's an article about that, about how the DNA test is making Native Americans immigrants now. Because when they take the test, they're coming out to be over 50% Siberian, East Asian, and things like that. So, but they still get the right to be indigenous to this continent, right? How is that possible? Well, I'm gonna say
it doesn't have a large enough database for Indians, is what she's saying.
What the DNA test does, and what I noticed a pattern. It makes nobody indigenous to North America.
That's not true.
Okay.
That's not true. That's not true.
So what it does is your percentages will always be a little low to be indigenous to this continent.
But you know why? That makes sense, Queen.
No. Listen. This is what I'm about to say.
You saw what happened to those people? They got massacred. Of course it's little.
We're not going to do that. Because I just drove through Pennsylvania. I see nothing but mounds. And if you don't know what a mound is, that's a pyramid, okay? A lot of people live around mounds, don't know what they're living around. So
You're not going to get me on that one.
All right. So we're going to ask the question. Let's think
She said, okay, we're talking about something else.
Let's think about this. Let's think about this and why I brought that up. If when the Native American takes the test, it comes out that they are immigrants, right? Based off the genealogy and based off the genetic database system that they have. And then when let's say the Black American now takes their test, they come out that a lot of times they're predominantly from somewhere else as well. The European takes their tests, they also get the same results, they're predominantly somewhere else as well. They may still have that indigenous blood thing at the bottom, maybe like a few, or 10%, 15%, but it's very low. Then who actually is indigenous and the true people of this land then? Who would have the most?
Part of the challenge is that the folks that lived here were so harshly treated by the European that so many people perished.
It's not true.
And so I'm not saying that no one has native DNA. I gotta say it again. You keep hearing me say the same thing, but the percentage is gonna be smaller because of a thing called genocide. A lot of people, these Europeans massacred whole. Listen, let's give you an example of the island that we call Hispaniola today, right? When Columbus got there may have been nearly 5 million people living there. That's a large number of people. In 20 years, it was completely destroyed. There was virtually no one left.
That is not true. And you guys have to stop with these narratives. Because then how would someone like him have indigenous ancestry if they're all gone? Then that means they're not gone.
I said Hispaniola.
You see, this is what they do.
First of all. Second of all, I want you to... Wait, hold on. Let me explain.
This is not supposed to be Jabari teach Shan. Shan is supposed to be telling you about my indigenous peoples.
But those aren't your indigenous peoples. Don't stop it now. Stop it now. We talking about Hispaniola. Stop it. We are talking about Hispaniola. Those are his indigenous people.
I know.
So how you going to tell me?
I represent for the North, Central, and South American indigenous.
Oh, come on. That's a big swath of land, Queen.
Thank you, sa.neter.
That's a big swath of land.
You go for all of your 54 countries of Africa. I go for all.
Why did you assume that that's what I'm doing? Why would you assume that's what I'm doing? Do you know where my mother is from? You've watched me a lot. Do you know where my mother is from? Where mother was born?
I can't even finish my thoughts.
Where's my mom from?
Where's your mother from, Jabari?
My mother is from Guyana. By the way, you interrupted me. I was talking. So let's get it straight.
But you go on this spiel where it's like...
It wasn't a spiel. I said 2 sentences.
And where everything you're saying is false.
okay.
You can't teach the teacher. You can't teach me about my people.
Now
What are you
here's,
doing here?
but you're saying your people.
My people.
And I want you to hear, as I said to you earlier, I have parentage from all over the Americas.
That's
I said that
beautiful.
to you. My mother is Guyanese.
Beautiful. You got a Guyanese mother.
And so I want you to understand that I am not saying that I am solely African, and I have said that already on camera. On camera, and I said it here today. I said it. I'm not solely
He's
African.
not solely African.
There are other. I'm talking about the percentages of DNA.
Okay.
Now, I already said to you. I just said to you, I'm not counting the European. I told you that.
You have to.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't.
So
I don't.
we pick and choose.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You are what you are. Period.
Well, I think that. Let me ask. Here's a question.
Okay.
If you knew very well that your mother was was raped, was raped,
Yeah.
would you claim your father who raped her?
No, we're not claiming.
So that's what I'm talking
but
about.
do you have proof that it was rape? That's
Yes.
how made you European?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's what makes you though.
Here's a simple way to
You're a
look at it.
spiritual person?
Of course, I'm a priest.
So then you believe that?
You haven't been looking at me. She hadn't been. She been saying she looking at. She hadn't been looking at me.
I'm just asking a vague question. So
But
then
you wouldn't ask that
hold on.
question.
But then you understand that all things happen for a reason. Unfortunately.
I don't look at it that way. No,
Well,
I don't look
I
at it
do.
that way. I don't look at it that way. I would
Unfortunately-
never say that the rape of the women in my family was part of a grand story, a grand
So
narrative.
what was it?
It was evil. It was a lack
evil.
of order.
But,
It's fact.
but you're here.
Sure, I'm here, and so
Okay.
now
And
I
we
have
give
the
thanks. We
opportunity
give
to restore
thanks.
balance.
And then guess what? And that's what we do. You restore balance by understanding what wrongs and atrocities that happen, and then you also give thanks.
I give thanks for drawing breath.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I've noticed is when people try to run from the trauma, it's like you're trying to hide a piece of yourself.
I'm not trying to run from the
Instead of
trauma.
just embracing the fact that these things happen, and at some point your ancestors probably killed someone else. Did you have any ancestors fighting a war?
I'm not running from trauma.
Any
I
of your
want you to.
grandfathers fighting
I want you to. I have lots of family that fought in wars.
Okay, so how
but
many
that's
people did they
not
kill?
the same thing
How many
as.
people did they rape?
That's not the same thing as the rape and annihilation of wholesale groups
What
of people.
role did your people play in history of annihilating somebody else
But I
in a
want
war?
you to hear
Jabari, you have to answer
that
my
just
question.
as you, I'm answering your question, but you have to listen. Just as you have chosen that you are Indian, even though you actually said that you might have African parentage.
No.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, she did. Yes, he did. I'm choosing.
No,
We're both choosing, Queen.
Listen, I didn't say I'm choosing.
Why you don't want?
No, listen to what I said. Oh my God, you guys spin this narrative. I said being that our people and my people were seafaring people, I'm not gonna say that.
How come when we say that, you know?
Because it's like saying I have Asian.
Like
I'm gonna say
throw that away. Like, oh no, I don't.
I don't see it.
Let me ask you this question.
I don't see it. It's like saying I have Asian. I don't see I have Chinese in my family.
What
No.
are your thoughts on the current diaspora wars?
Kind of what's happening right now. You know, we have a lack of understanding of who we are as people and respecting where we're standing. I do believe that as melanated people, we do not give each other enough grace. Sometimes we do the work of the so-called white man and trying to define what dark-skinned people are supposed to be inhibited to. We're dark-skinned all over the world, you know, and you can't take that from me. So I feel like with the diaspora, what's happening is that there are people that are indigenous to Africa. They're coming to America. They're meeting people that have similar complexions to them, but what they're hearing is not a similar story in some cases. Some cases, this is a similar story. But the descendants people who believe they're descendants of Africans, right? They're asking, well, what can you help me out with knowing about my people? A lot of African people, in my experience, don't necessarily have an answer. A lot of them will even say, I've never even heard of slave trade.
What don't they have an answer for? I didn't understand. I didn't
They
get that
don't
part.
have an answer for who these Africans were that were sold off.
You're talking about a lot of continental Africans don't have that answer?
The ones that come here to America
Okay.
and they meet the Black American, there's a disconnect where there's a mistrust that happens, right? So you can't tell me about something that I was taught about, and then you're saying you only heard about it in school. right? So then it ultimately leads to, like you said, what people say, well, the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say that. No way. No, it happened. Slave trading happened. Human trafficking is happening now. It's never ended. Let's just keep that real. Unfortunately, humans have a dark side.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Do you agree with Dane Callaway when he teaches that we were brought from America to Africa? He says it was reversed. And if you do, can you explain that for us?
I don't want to say it was in reverse. I'm going to say that there were people brought to West Africa. How do we know that? We follow...
From America, you say?
I would say from the Americas, right? Excuse me.
Why was they brought to Africa? Why? For what purpose?
Well, you have to see about the Columbian Exchange, right? There's going to be, it's going to be a transfer of food and products that's going to happen from the Americas. What me as a researcher, what I can see is that somebody has to cultivate those crops. We're not going to say the Portuguese came with the pepper from Jamaica and he just automatically knew how to grow a pepper in West Africa, in Ghana, right? There's a lot of similarities even in the foods. We ask the question a lot of times, how did you get the tomato? And who taught you how to cultivate that tomato? So when we look at it in that sense, yes, I do believe there were Americans that was probably sent there, even if they were from Brazil, etc., yada, yada, yada. But in the grand scheme of things, no, there were people that were brought from the Cape Verdes and etc. to the Americas, whether it was Brazil, the Caribbean. I would say the bulk of the people that came did come to the Caribbean and to South America.
The bulk of the people that came, that were brought in the transatlantic, okay.
From West Africa.
Came from where? Came from
the Cape Verde Islands, and then also West.
Cape Verde was small.
Yeah, Cape Verde was small, but
right.
it was one of the main ports for the Portuguese to transfer the people out to the Americas, right? So so pretty much, did it happen in reverse? I just feel like there were people going around. They also sent American Indians to Europe. They had them serving indentured servitude contracts in England. You also had American Indians that were sent from Northeast, like the Pequot, sent to Bermuda and Barbados, etc. And as I said earlier, with Tatumba, she was also an indentured contract. I wouldn't call her a slave, but servant, who was an Arawak Indian, my complexion from Barbados, and she was sent to New England. So the picture I'm painting is that it was a little bit of everything. People were shipping around because it was different companies that were involved in this.
Are you familiar with the teachings of Kemet?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
What do you think about this civilization?
No, I think it was one of the greatest civilizations, definitely. Definitely.
Where do you suppose life began? Now, I take it that you are not going to say life began in Africa.
No,
it begins right here in America.
No, I'm gonna say that life began. I believe it began on both continents. And this is how I see it. Africa, and how we know it today, is connected to Europe. It's connected to Asia. That's, to me, and how I see it, that's one big old landmass.
Africa's connected to Asia?
When you look at the map,
right,
what's really separating that area? From the Middle East. What's separating Africa, all of that? It's not really that separated. So
you're calling the quote-unquote Middle East Asia?
No. I'm saying that is one big landmass.
What's one big landmass?
But they're just separated by borders and say this is Asia, this is Europe, this is the Middle East, and then this is Africa. But it's really not that separated. It's kind of like America. America, we're north, central. Central is just a land bridge that connects you to what? South America. We're not that separated. We're just separated by an imaginary line. But just like how America is separated from Canada by what? An imaginary line. You don't see it like that?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. That's my theory, though. That's just my theory.
I agree that when we think about, when we mostly think about what is sometimes called the Middle East, the term Middle East is racist. Let's be really clear. It's racist. Mm-hmm. It exists because those people who were in control of the British Crown wanted to describe all of their holdings based on where they were in the world. So They have the Far East, the Near East, the Middle East. And that's racist. And we should just recognize it and stop calling it such. That place is clearly connected to Africa.
Would you say that's Northern Africa, right?
You could make that argument. I don't know if I would make it, but I wouldn't say you were wrong if you made that argument.
Is that part still connected to Asia?
Which part?
The Middle East or Northern Africa?
Didn't I just say I would make that argument?
I'm looking at
she
it.
She tried to draw it really.
I'm looking at a point of imaginary lines that divides countries up, it divides regions up. But when you look at it from a grand, just stand back from a map and look at it. It's just one big old landmass, right? Same thing with Americas. It's one big old landmass. So I do believe that life started on both these land masses. I believe that there were a set of certain people that were here, and I do believe there was a certain set of people that sprung up over there.
But how does it happen that, how could that possibly occur that people could actually sprout from two different places? How is that possible that something could happen in two different places and one of those spaces not be the first point where it occurred?
Well, I mean, what proof do we have that it is really the first point? Because they found
we have DNA proof.
Okay, and they have bones of also another person they found in South America.
Sure.
And that was predating the bones of Lucy. It
doesn't predate the bones of Lucy. It doesn't predate the. I have heard that over the last year. It does not how old were those bones?
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No. What happened with those bones? This is what you're saying.
Okay.
They were there. They were much earlier than they expected to be.
Okay.
Right, but we're not talking about millions of years. And so we're talking about hundreds of probably 50,000 years earlier than expected.
Why? But let me ask this question: why can't it be that the people of the Americas, they come from one set of people, and then the people of that African, Eurasian landmass come from another set of people?
So you're saying that they were two different creations?
I do believe that.
But
and then possibly
wait.
the asteroid.
First of all, we have to understand that when we look at DNA, we can trace the DNA. We've been able to do this since the late 80s. We can trace the DNA of everyone on the planet back to Africa. And we can tell you when they left based on the DNA markers. You also can, philologists, people who study languages, will now tell you that the languages of the Khoisan people are the oldest languages on the planet. They have the largest number of phonemes, which probably means it's the hardest language to learn, by the way. Right. And that we see the number of phonemes tend to dissipate as they get further away. And then we also have fossils. We don't have fossils that are older in the Americas of human beings. I keep hearing that. And whenever I hear it, I go, show me the article. And they go, oh, yeah, I was wrong. It's because it's going around, but it's not the case.
So let's do this. Since you don't want to take it that perspective, what about the Y chromosome? And it being found here in America? No, the oldest?
Every human being has a Y chromosome. The oldest Y chromosome is not in the United States.
Really?
No.
You sure about that?
I'm positive about that.
You sure about that?
I am positive. I'm positive as my name is Jabari.
Okay. Since you want to play science, we can play science.
But let's be clear. Humans probably got to the Americas earlier than they were given credit.
So let's make this clear. Jabari said the oldest Y chromosome was not found in the United States. I didn't put that in his mouth.
Look at Jabari looking up like, uh-oh.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we could just use a logical argument. If the oldest X chromosome is found where?
Where?
Where is it?
Tell me. You tell me. I'm going to tell you my source. You tell me yours.
You're not going to have a source. The oldest X chromosome, I'm being polite here, you're not going to have a source.
Okay.
Well, you're not going to have a source. Okay. When you look at the oldest X chromosomes, you're going to see that the X chromosomes of all of humanity, this is what we call sometimes mitochondrial DNA, can be taken back to a woman that lived in Africa around 200,000 years ago. But I mean, just use a logical argument because we're humans, right? We know that women don't create children by themselves.
Right.
So obviously, if the oldest X chromosome is in Africa, it is impossible, unless you were saying she was taking a plane from Africa and having sex with a man in the Americas. She had to have a mate for her DNA.
We're going to get back to that because I like that discussion.
But did you hear what I said? I just want you to make a logical argument for a second.
No, I got you.
Because if the oldest X chromosome is in Africa, she wasn't like given. Even if she had an egg, your phone's gonna drop. Don't do that. Because if it falls and it breaks, I'm gonna be angry. It's gonna hurt me. I mean, you know, even if she had given birth with an egg, she would have still had to have a male partner. So how in the world?
But you gotta explain why is the oldest man as we speak is in America. Okay, you look
what
at
oldest
right
man?
now.
What oldest man? What are you referring to?
His name is Albert Perry, and he was coined the oldest.
You talking about the oldest living person?
No, he's gone. He's this.
I don't understand what you're asking. Let me look for Albert Perry. I don't know what you're referring to.
Go ahead.
And what is he? What else? Albert Perry is not.
He's the oldest Y chromosome on the planet, and his descendants carry it. His descendants, they found it through the DNA test. He took a DNA test to try to find. His sons took a DNA test to try to find a genetic lineage.
But that doesn't say that the Y chromosome originates here. That's not what that means.
It says it pushed back the timeline of humanity. That's what it says. So you gotta understand that these are debates that keep changing.
Look at your source. Don't let's not do this on camera.
No,
She's gonna look at your source.
No, here's
Read
the
your
thing.
source.
You can't argue a source you never read. You just Googled it.
No, but I'm
you
telling
just, how you gonna argue?
No, but because you know what? There's two things.
Yeah.
Let me say this to you. I speed read, so I read the article. You won't even believe I just read that article.
He didn't read the article.
Did you see me look down and read the article?
No, he did not. sa.neter, I just told him to
400
Google it. He
words
just
a minute.
Googled it.
Look, well, I'll show you. Let me show you. This is from New
You
Scientist.
have to read the actual report.
I read the abstract.
That's
the abstract
that's the
tells
type
me
of scholarship we do over here.
An abstract. An abstract. Queen, tell me what an abstract is. What's an abstract?
Why it's like you read the synopsis. You
An abstract for a scholarly article tells you what the purpose of the article is.
Report,
the purpose of the article doesn't say he is the. Okay, let me read it. I'll read it to you.
No, I don't need you to read it.
So then you show me your source.
I need you to look at the actual scientific report where they actually compared his Y chromosome to who? Who did they compare the Y chromosome to? Since you're still Googling.
Queen, do you really want to read? You don't want to read this. Let's not do this on camera.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
The second paragraph of the article is one possible. This is not on camera, sa.neter. She gonna be angry with me, and I'm trying. First she told me to Google it. Now she say this Google scholarship.
I didn't know he was on camera, but now we're on camera.
You asked me to Google it. I said you could present your source. You refused.
Because I thought you knew about the Y chromosome being in America.
But I'm trying to say to you, everyone has a.
So I just taught you something new.
Every male. Wait a minute, Queen. Wait. Let me tell you how this works. Because it sounds like you're not explaining how DNA works, how chromosomes work.
He doesn't hear the report.
All right, let's get back.
sa.neter. The oldest. We can trace everyone through everyone, men and women, because we both have Y chromosomes or X chromosomes. We can trace our lineage through our mothers back to Africa, right? Everyone on the planet can do this.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone on the planet can do this. And so we have to understand that if that is the case, and I know you know this is the case as well, sa.neter, it's been well documented for at least the last 30 years. We have to understand, just make a logical argument for a second. She isn't like budding. She's actually having intercourse with a man.
So
there's no way
man in America then?
It doesn't. No, that's not what the article says.
So let me read the article.
Okay, go ahead.
Since I can't trust
Go ahead. Tell us your source.
And sure.
Okay.
And I thought you would actually know about it. You love science. See, I try not to go the science route because it's a never-ending debate, but we can do it.
Are you willing to do to have a discussion?
Science a never-ending debate.
Are you willing to have a one-on-one discussion with Jabari on the stream?
Come on, man.
Today,
Come on, man. She saw the blood in the streets when I spoke to Top Cat, and she fleeing. She saw the blood in the streets.
Because what you're doing right now is the same thing you do with Top Cats, where you talk to the camera, you don't talk to the person, and then you try to say, "Look, are you serious? Look what they're doing. Are you serious?" But you're not really refuting anything. You're not refuting nothing.
Queen, there's nothing that Top Cat said that.
Let's read it.
Go ahead. Tell us your source first.
The same one you just pulled up.
Okay.
Because you didn't know about it.
Tell us the source. Because people can't see what I'm looking at. Okay, go ahead.
Scientist.com.
Yep, go ahead.
And I'm going to make sure we know that these are multiple sources. I don't want this to make,
go ahead.
just using one thing. No. We can also look at the, this is answersynergist.org.
Answer
You got
senators?
yahoonews.com. So I'm going to click on yahoonews.com. Let's do that one, because everyone knows Yahoo, right? I don't think anybody would say they lie. The father of all humankind is 340,000 years old. DNA evidence has revealed that the oldest known common male ancestor is 340,000 years old, more than twice as old as previous estimates. New Scientist reports that the sample comes from a recently deceased man named Albert Perry. After the African-American South Carolina man died, one of his relatives submitted a sample of his DNA to a company called Family Tree DNA for analysis. Check that out. So
now wait a minute. Are you telling me that you reading stuff that debunks you and you smiling?
How would debunks me? How would debunks me?
Okay.
Because I'm gonna tell you what's going on.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Hold on. No. Wait a minute. Because you don't know my source, so you can't control this narrative.
Okay.
What's happened is that y'all are sending your DNA to these companies, and they're doing everything but giving you with the truth.
Wow.
They're looking at your genetic makeup. That's how they found Albert Perry. You all think it's just about ethnicities and percentages, but the reality, that's on the front, that's on the surface level. The under level is that they're looking for more Henrietta Laxes. They're looking for more people that carry certain rare genetic makeups, okay? That's how they found Albert Perry. Because his sons, not him, his sons did a DNA test. Instead of just getting ethnicity percentages, they say his Y chromosome was something they couldn't detect, right? So they couldn't get him an accurate assessment. But we can keep going.
They said what? They couldn't detect his Y chromosome?
No. Well, they couldn't get an accurate assessment because his Y chromosome was so old.
Okay.
So it's not in their database. Okay? Alright. We're gonna keep reading. Alright, it says all previously compared DNA samples pointed to a common Y ancestor. A common Y chromosome traced back to a man who lived between 60,000 to 140,000 years ago. But Perry's DNA sample broke the trend, not matching up with this common ancestor. Okay? So when you read into the studies, as I would like for Jabari to do,
you're skipping.
You gonna tell me I'm skipping my own source?
I'm looking at your source.
And I just taught him this today.
Oh goodness. I'm looking at her source.
He know
sa.neter, y'all know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna impeach you with your source.
So you're gonna say it's the transatlantic slave trade.
The first thing I'm gonna say to you, Queen.
You're gonna go there.
The first thing I'm going to say to you is that the way you're reading it, I don't think you understand how chromosomes work. Because I have chromosomes. I told you that everyone on the planet can be traced back to one woman in Africa, right? That's what I said to you.
They also said it was.
So I want you to understand.
They also said everyone traced back to a man in Africa, and it changed now.
That article does not say it changed.
Okay.
That article does not say it changed. What the article is saying is that, now see, let me explain this really briefly. The woman who actually was on the continent, who was the mother of all of humanity, there were other women living when she was there. Mm-hmm. She wasn't it's not like she was like the first woman. There were other women, but the other lineages died out. So what they have discovered with Albert Perry is that one of the DNA strands from a Y chromosome that they thought had ended did not.
That's a lie.
You
didn't read the source, dude. Don't do that. Please don't do that. This is dishonest intellectual.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, let him read it. Go ahead.
Okay.
You need to read the source.
I'm not even exactly sure. I'm not how. I'm not sure she understands how chromosomes work.
Because
That's the problem.
I'm not understanding this.
No, I don't think you're understanding how chromosomes work. I don't think you understand how it works. Respectfully.
Okay, no, respectfully.
Because that article is not saying
his Y chromosome to
article,
other men that were supposed to have that Y chromosome, and they could not find a match.
What happened, Queen, is that essentially what we're able to do as we get more sources is that we're sometimes able to say, oh, we thought that this line died. It did not. there is someone that is a descendant that has this line.
That's not what they're saying.
That is what the article says, and I don't understand. She read it, and she don't understand what she's reading. She read it.
Can you read where it says that?
Does the article? Let me first ask the audience and you first. Let me first ask the audience. Let me first ask the audience whether the article says what she says it does, because what she is saying is that because this is a man in the United States, that perhaps all of humanity started here. Did that article say that to you?
No, it does not.
No, it does not. So first off, I want you to acknowledge that I'm going down this rabbit hole, but we almost need not. Because the article that she presented does not meet her needs.
Yes,
that's the first thing you have to do.
It does.
Second of all, I think it's
second
of all, I want you to understand. Second of all, I want you to understand that the logical argument that we should make, if you understand how DNA and chromosomal lineage works, you have to understand that what is being said doesn't fit. Because you have to know that if there's a woman, there's a man, if her line exists. Because women don't just create children by themselves. You have children.
Okay. So where is the
I do not. Why am I telling her how this works?
The oldest man is in America.
He's not the oldest man. What the article is saying.
Hold up. What Jabari is telling you, just think about it for 1 minute.
Okay.
He can't be the oldest man because even he would have a father. Even he would have
and
a
even
mother.
She would have a mother, right?
Yes.
Right,
so
that's
if the oldest, I
about.
get what he's saying, but if he's the oldest man, okay, let's paint this
You
picture.
talking about the oldest man that they found.
He's not the oldest man.
No. They said of all humankind.
Oh no, that can't.
But that's what the same scientists that make your DNA test, they're the ones that's saying it.
So
what they're saying.
Okay, hold on.
This is what. No, that's not what they're saying.
No, I'm saying what
I
she's
know.
saying is,
Ooh,
he's
careful.
Adam.
Careful.
He's
Let's
You
read
okay?
this. Let's read this real quick. You read it for me.
No,
what does
go
that say?
ahead, go ahead.
What does it say?
All right, come,
Read it.
bring up.
Read it. It does not say what she's saying.
Okay.
That's because she's not familiar with how
Of all
chromosomes work.
humankind is what? 340,000 years old.
Is Albert Perry 340,000 years old?
No.
His Y chromosome is
No.
Yes, his Y chromosome is, but you're not understanding how the chromosomes work. What they're saying.
So where's the mother?
Queen,
So where's his
can
mother?
you just let me explain it?
I get it,
Please
but
let
then
me
where's his
understand.
mother?
Well, they're not reporting on his X chromosome. But I want you to understand
That's the
that.
question.
What do you mean?
That's
what are you
the
saying?
question. If he's the oldest
sis,
man,
sis.
She's not
That's not
understanding the
what it's saying.
article.
It's
She's
not
not
saying that
understanding
right
the
there.
article. No.
It says DNA has revealed that the oldest known common male ancestor.
Yes.
No.
His ancestor. So
No.
they thought that his line died out. It did not die out.
listen to what I'm saying. You gotta understand.
She not understand the article.
I get what you're saying, right? Because it's the same thing that's happening with West Africans, right? Where they're saying that certain West African tribes have ghost DNA, right? They're saying that there could be another species of hominins or whatever that made up these people because they now can't detect this other side of certain West African tribes. Did you know about that? No, he did not.
Of course I read about that. It doesn't fit in this conversation. I don't even want to go down there yet.
Because
It doesn't.
we're talking about things that were once deemed as either extinct or unknown, and they're coming out in these DNA testing that you all are participating in, right? What do you know about the ghost DNA in West Africans without Googling?
No, Queen, we're not talking about ghost DNA. We're talking about Albert Perry.
It's about species that were
And
that
you're
were
also
deemed
not
extinct.
and you're also
You just
not
said
going to ask me this. You are the one that has
so
to
now I
defend
can't
your
ask some
article.
questions.
You have to defend your article, Queen.
I can't ask you questions now, honey.
She was answering a question and she just flipped it on me.
But you didn't even
That's
let me
pretty
answer.
slick.
You didn't even let me answer.
You're the one talking. I'm looking at the phone. I'm about to text my wife. You were talking.
I just said, if the Y chromosome is found here in America, right? They compared it to the other men on the planet that were deemed to also may have this ancestor. But he has a very distinct lineage, which coins him and his descendants the oldest of humankind, right? So now you just said, okay, that's probably because that's from a lineage of, or a set of a Y chromosome that was deemed extinct, but they were never really extinct, they're still here. Okay.
Right.
So let's talk about that with the West African ghost DNA, right? Now they're saying it's an unknown set of species. Okay, so let's bring that source up. Because I'm the only one that seems to bring up sources on this.
I can't even believe she said that.
I'm the only one bringing up sources.
You don't want me to pull sources. You don't want me to pull sources.
We can.
Because it's interesting to me also that the person that doesn't, wait a minute, it's also interesting to me that the person that refuses to get a DNA test is telling me about DNA.
But see, that's why I said if we play I could play the DNA game all day with science.
It's not a game, dear.
I could play it all day.
It's not a game, sweetie. It isn't.
Let me tell you how I got into the information, how I even met somebody like a Top Cats, right? I was studying ancient American history. That's how I got into this. So you naturally get into the side of studying bones and the artifacts and them finding all these different things and debunking the Bering Strait theory. That's been debunked a long time ago. So when you get into this realm, you kind of fall into this debate about science. I debated Rabon about science. Ask Rabon.
I was about to say.
I debated Rabon.
I was about to say I was going to have Rabon here, but I said no. Rabon
but you gotta warn me about you can't just be popping up. But I spoke to Rabon plenty of times about this same conversation, right? Because at one point y'all used to say black people never existed in the Americas. Now y'all
Who's y'all? Who's y'all?
Yeah.
Y'all,
No,
as
we
in
never
a
said that.
lot of your conscious community folks.
Oh, wow. You're painting a lot of people in one group.
Well, I pay attention.
No,
I pay attention.
You're not talking about
I pay
me.
attention.
You're not talking about me.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about you then.
Yeah,
But but the sentiment was a lot of times, I'll say about 5 years ago, if you were dark skinned coming out saying you had any kind of Indian in your family, people say you had self-hate. So it's only in recent times.
You might not. You might, but you might not.
Just like you only claim to be African. And
I never said I only claim to be
African. That could be.
I never claimed only to be an African.
Because like I said,
I said I don't want to claim the European side is what I said.
Okay, but listen what I'm saying. It's not only about you, honey.
What?
It's not only about you.
She talks about me. That's just not only about me.
But I'm talking about y'all as in Rabon and a lot of people who had that type of.
Have you seen me and Rabon? Me and Rabon be fighting every single. Rabon and I are fighting all the time. I'm saying, how dare you paint me with the same brush?
Okay, I understand.
You wouldn't want me to do that to you.
Can I finish? Because we were talking about Rabon.
You know, you and Dane Callaway.
Listen, he always getting beat up. That's my.
If I said you and Dane Callaway, you would be fit and ready to fight.
But here's the thing, Rabon and a lot of people who run in them circles that he's in had that sentiment that we never existed here, right?
Yes, that's true.
We're not going to say
there are some.
No,
there was a lot.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot. We're talking about like 4 people. It's not a lot. It's Rabon. It's really no. Wait, listen. Maybe you might. I'm not insulting your intelligence.
Come on.
They may be.
I've spoken to these people that disrespected me personally.
Did you see what he said?
Listen.
He named 3 of the 4 people.
I've seen a lot of these people. They will even team up with Native Americans that look more Asiatic and go against us. So this is not just a handful. Walk out in the street right now.
You're talking about the people in the conscious community. There's like 4 of them. Really, it really is. Queen, please believe me, because I fight with them too.
She's trying to do, I think what the sister does is she's putting everybody in.
She is. But the conscious community is very diverse. It's very diverse.
Okay, they're very diverse. But the sentiment that a lot of them had, this whole now everyone want to claim their indigenous side, like you, sa.neter, like you, Jabari. You never tell them you had a Guyanese mother. But
what?
Jabari said that on camera
many times.
And what's her lineage in Guyana?
Let's talk about what she's talking about. We're not going down that now. We're not going down that now. Because it's a whole other conversation that we can have. But the reality is, the reason why I'm not going down that road is because she's getting cut on Albert Perry. And she's going to keep that cut, take that cut, get bandaged for the cut.
But you know what? Let her close out Jabari.
Yes.
Okay.
I got to go to Central Park soon. We have a summer solstice celebration in Central Park.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay.
I thought she would think it was nice because she also is someone that's into the earth children. So that's why I'm telling you.
Thank you. I like
all
stuff
right,
like that.
You might think I dislike you. I don't dislike you.
No, I don't think you dislike me. I just think you're very argumentative. You're very argumentative.
Yeah. Jabari, close out. All right, hold on. Jabari, close out and say some nice things about the Indians or whatever.
Look at how he describes that. Look at how he described that. Queen, both you and I should beat him up.
You know what?
Let me say it this way. I'll say it a little differently. What he's saying is don't close out in an acrimonious manner is what he's trying to say. That's what he's trying to say. She want to call Top Cat. Let's let him.
Are we about to end?
Put the phone to it so we can hear it.
To this?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he'll answer yet.
All right,
I know he was live.
Close out, Jabari, because it's getting ready to rain.
Oh, he didn't answer?
Oh, it's about to rain.
Please don't tell me it's about to rain.
He called
Yes,
me.
it is.
He called me
snap.
twice when we were interviewing. But
Yeah, because he saw you call, so he thought, you know. Well, let me say, obviously, this is an opening conversation. I think that while it wasn't always easy, I hope that the Queen understands that I'm not here to attack her. That doesn't mean we're going to see eye to eye on everything, right? But we don't need to see eye to eye on everything.
right.
It's not necessary for her to have my views and for me to have her views. But I do think that we can have a robust dialogue without being disrespectful. And I hope that she considers me genuine in saying that I'm not looking to tear her down. I'm not looking to insult her. I do have some questions, and I'm going to want to understand, because I genuinely want to understand. There are some things that I have heard from folks that are in the Aboriginal community. I'm going to say Aboriginal community. You might not even be part of that community.
No, I'm not.
But I'm going to say there are things that I've heard from folks in the Aboriginal community that defy science, defy logic, defy history. And as someone who is attempting to ensure that people of African descent recognize that that's exactly who we are, it particularly is irksome to me.
Okay.
And so that's what I would say, and that's the direction I go in. But I must say again, for like the 5th time, I am not saying that there are not people of African descent that have common parentage with Native Americans. That's not what I'm saying, because I know that there are some, right? What I want us to do, though, is embrace our Africanity. That's what I'd like us to do. And as we embrace that, it is absolutely fine if you have Native American heritage to embrace your Native American heritage. Listen, Baba Kamene and I are tight. I really respect him. And I know that he has Native American lineage.
He's never been here, right?
Not to this house, no.
I'm gonna bring him over.
Yeah, he should come.
Can I just say something?
He should come. So,
Hold up, this-
so I just, you're going to get a chance to close.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm not saying that that is impossible. I have questions, and I think that some of those questions are good questions. That doesn't mean that there isn't a person that can prove to me or explain to me that the number of people that are considered of African American actually have much more lineage here in the Americas or have no lineage from Africa.
Okay.
I would just like for them to explain it to me. And I'm saying to you, with all of the conversations I've had, I haven't heard that yet. And so hopefully as we have a conversation, a deeper conversation, because we really didn't get into a lot of the information today. Hopefully if we have a deeper
that's the
conversation.
Point that I wanted to say.
All I'm saying is, family, I'm pleased talking to you, and I will see you soon.
All right. So this is the problem that I'm having. Should I just start? What should I start with? Because I wanted to talk
You want me to
about-
ask you the questions over? That way you can go into all of that again and then add on to whatever?
Because okay. So as indigenous peoples of the Americas, what I do understand is that there are plenty of people that have come to our homeland and they have intermingled, mixed in, whether it was voluntary, involuntarily. And right now where we are in history is that we are able to start telling our stories again, right? Especially because a lot of us were either acquainted, our family members, grandmas, etc., raised us to be indigenous and to not be ashamed of who we are as well, but to also welcome all other parts of people that come from different parts of different diasporas. So I often get the question about how did we get to the point of being Black African American in this country? And this is going to come a lot around the time of the Reconstruction era. And we can't forget there were Indian slaves. A lot of people think that slavery in America is only synonymous with Africans. No, there were plenty of Indian slaves. You can look at the start of the Pequot Wars and the King Philip's War. These people were taken as slaves. Different counties. there used to be articles that actually would come out that would count down the last Indian of each county, especially here in the New England region. Why is that? Because either two things were happening. Either they were being physically killed or they were being removed and then reclassified to either white or black, right? So this reclassification deals with the dwindling of numbers. It's not that the tribal people are gone, it's just that they're in a different class right now. So you would have tribes like, let's say, like the Puspatuck tribe that I have family that's connected to. The Puspatuck tribe only has about 200 odd members now, right? That's not saying they don't have more descendants, but that's just who's in the tribe today that falls underneath being American Indian. Even though there'll be others that fall under a different classification like black or African American. And as time goes on, as we mix, we also lose a lot of our cultural customs and traditions. We also start to take in a lot of cultural traditions from a lot of immigrants that have came to the New York City region, right? So I briefly also, like I said, I brought up a lot of the Central American plight as well. I'm personally close with a lot of indigenous people from Central America that quite look like us, right? And the problem that they're having is they can't assimilate in society. They are deemed as being more savage. They are deemed to being more uncivilized, right? So when you look at these countries in South and Central America, you're always going to see the lighter complected ones, but you're never going to see the indigenous people that are in the shadows, in the villages, and they're not able to get that bank teller job. They can't work at the airport. They can't work at a restaurant. That's where the predominant tourist population will come from. So I just feel like for me and my message, as I said, I advocate for the black Americans, and when I say Americans, I am talking about North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean that were misclassified to mulatto, to color, to Negro, to African American, to black. A lot of our brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and even from the Central and South Americas, when they come to America, they have to classify themselves as either black or white. Now, in their countries, these classifications don't fit sometimes, right? But when they come here now, they become black. In their countries, they're just Dominican, right? They understand that there may be different avenues they got to become a Dominican, but they're just a Dominican. But in America, they become black. And I remember growing up in New York City, that was a joke. Oh, the Dominicans don't want to be black. Well, the reality is, what is black? What is white? Right? But classifications, right? What I do, just like the brother Jabari, he said he wants people to embrace their African heritage. I want people to not be afraid of their indigenous heritage either. I want people to understand that you are living on Indian land, right? And you should not steer yourself away from it. You should not feel like you see the Indian as just a savage, uncivilized, teepee-dwelling people.
But see, the problem that we have is when you only want to identify with Indians.
Right.
You don't want to include the African part. And that's the argument. That's why you see a lot of us tend to have these discussions and debates. So let me ask you, why do you feel and you get so passionate to let people know, no, I don't have no African.
No, it's not that. No. I think I get passionate because I know I come from people that know they're not those other people that came here. And I get passionate because I see the erasure that occurred, especially here in New York City. The black Americans of New York City, our culture has been kind of washed out or mixed in or blended with a lot of immigrants that have came in. There's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of immigrants in my family. But the authentic root of what New York is washed out, right? Pizza, that's an Italian thing, right? You're not eating, you don't know if you're eating American indigenous foods. So when I hear like people like my aunts, my grandmas, and not just my grandmas, I have all types of men and women in my family who know they're Indians. But they're Indian at home, but in the public, they have to be African American. That hurts me a lot because I know they're just as passionate about their lineage, right? But I understand that they have mixed in with a lot of other people, and to blend in with these people, they will take on that classification too. And they know that their kids will take on that classification too. And guess what? A lot of times, because our people were enslaved, right? We also feel that we have the same plight as the African, as the Caribbean, and anybody else that came here. Sometimes you don't see yourself as different especially in New York, what they used to say, the boat just took different stops, right? And we just all brothers and sisters, right? Well, that's just the mentality in New York. You know, we have the mentality of accepting all people. I noticed that in the South, it's a little different because they may have not experienced a lot of immigration yet. But in the North, you know, it's like we become one big happy family. But in that becomes a washout that happens. Because now when you do speak out and say, hey, but I'm an Indian. You are African, you are that, you are this, and we mix, but I'm an Indian. The Indian is told to shut up. Right here on their homelands. I don't think that's cool. I don't think that people like my family, who are the foundation of the United States, because we know that a lot of it started right here in New York, right? People who were the foundation of what we see today as one of the greatest nations on the planet, they're pushed to aside and they're told this is a white man's land, right? We don't even get a chance to tell the world what we contributed, what we did, how we were able to help a lot of the Southerners that came to the North, how we helped them transition, how we got something as great as a Harlem Renaissance, right? We don't get a chance to talk about the black, so-called black people in the North.
So let me ask you a question. You don't believe that that all people come right up out of the African gene?
Right.
Like the original people of the planet starts off with African people. You don't believe that? You don't?
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. And I'm going to tell you why.
So
I respect our tribal people here in North America. And there are a lot of tribes in North America that would say they don't believe it either.
So where do you think the rest of the people come from? Where do you think the white men come from? Where do white people come from?
Well, that's a good question. Where do they come from? I spoke to plenty of white people.
From a mixture of Native Americans, Indians, come from African mixture.
I think that's a question. I've actually spoke to quite a few white people about their origins, and it's an interesting answer that's different than what we're taught with science, right? And the Neanderthal argument, right? A lot of the white people I've spoken to, and I asked this question to them, what do you believe your origins are? A lot of them would say that I believe I come from a certain other planet. I had one person say I come from planet Vega. Another person said he believes the Nordic people, which he believes are his real white people, they come from the Nordic star. Everybody, see, we have this misconception because we don't talk to people. We just want to tell people stuff. That we all believe in the same thing just because science said it. You know, science also tells you to take the vaccine. Science also told you about COVID, right? But there's a lot of people out here, when you really talk to them, they don't believe in what these scientists are putting out. So they have their own origin stories, and what they say, they had their own astral travel with their ancestors. And they saw themselves coming from other planets. They saw themselves. As a matter of fact, I spoke to a Native American guy one time, and he said for his particular tribe from the Southwest, because we have to understand Southwest and the Western tribes, they're different than us Eastern Woodland people, right? But I asked him about his origins, what he believed as a Native American. He said, I know it's in our tribal stories that we came from behind the ice wall. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's pseudo, you know, but there's a lot of phenomena on this planet that I do believe that they're unexplainable, right? Hence why, like I said earlier, that a lot of the Melanesians, the West Africans, some of them are having a ghost DNA. So is it possible that there are other humans that were on the planet that are extinct, at least they thought were extinct, and they're coming back to life? That's a possibility. It's a possibility. Anything's possible with science. Science is ever changing, right? But where we stand right now as indigenous peoples is that we do take heed to what our ancestors tell us about where we're from. You know, I've even heard a sister tell me about her tribe. She said her tribe comes from the North Pole. Who would have told you that, right? But based on science, we'll say that's folklore, it's myths, and there's no possible way that people can come from the North Pole. So my dad, he definitely understands the journey that we're taking to restore our heritage here in America, and he definitely supports me in what I'm doing and trying to tell the story of the Americas. But my grandma, she'll make jokes about her hair. You know, her hair used to come way down to her back, and she'll make jokes about that. Her mother is actually where we would come with our also our Mohawk lineage, right? And it was a disconnect that happened between my great grandmother and her side. And once I knew more about her side of the family, which we learned before she passed, she started to tell us about Port Washington. And my mom told me, she said, you know, I remember going to Port Washington. We used to go out there all the time. And when I actually showed my mother some of the stuff that I found, and I actually showed my great grandma before she passed, I said, great grandma, I found, you know, your I found the Port Washington records. Your brother, her brother is William Dumpson. He was also a Harlem Globetrotter, right? So we have a lot of entertainers, a lot of singers and boxers and basketball players came out of my family, out of Port Washington, right? So it was like for me, I knew, but like I said, I didn't know how many people didn't know. But it wasn't a big deal to be an Indian. Like, people make it a big deal now. It's like, oh, yeah, you want to be Indian. But it's like, for a lot of us, it's just like, okay, that's what we are. You know, but we still fight for the injustices for black people, period. Because we know a lot of those black people are our people still, you know? So I don't know, like I said, I don't know why it's such a taboo. It's a phenomenon now to see darker skinned people. It's just like when people saw darker skinned people speaking Spanish. It was like, oh my God, they speak Spanish. We exist. We have the blood. You know, if somebody white can have the blood and be a chief of a tribe, I don't understand why there's such a big deal to be dark skinned, have the blood, and to be misclassified as a black American.
I know you are familiar and aware of Indians enslaving Africans.
Yes.
Talk to us about that. Were they a part of your family who owned slaves?
Not my family per se. And if you're going to talk about that history, then we're talking about the freedmen history. And the freedmen are a very particular set of people, families in this story. Because I know that a lot of people run around calling themselves freedmen, but they're not a part of that story. And the freedmen, they all were not African people. A lot of the freedmen were people that were disbanded from their tribes or overtaken by the tribes. Hence why you'll have the Cherokee become an umbrella of these different tribes that were taken, right? The freedmen are not really seen as the true Cherokee people. But Cherokee tribe is also a made-up tribe, just as Choctaw, just as a lot of the Chickasaw. These tribes are amalgamations and umbrellas of tribes, right? I would say for my tribe, because I can speak for my people, we didn't have slaves. We didn't have that out here. Now, did some of our people become slaves? Yes, right? And that history is completely ignored. It's completely ignored about the thousands of American Indians that were slaved on their own land and forced to pick cotton, forced to grow all types of crops for the European. No one talks about that side. So it's not every tribe. And the 5 civilized tribes, they're called civilized for a reason. You know, what does it mean to be civilized? Come on, it's colonization. These tribes are overtaken, they're overruled. The Cherokee language was made in the 1800s. There's nothing ancient about the Cherokee tribe, okay? So these are colonizers that were trying to breed in with the Indian, and then they will create what we call the freedmen out of the other American Indians that were displaced. Yes.
There's a term out there called the $5 Indians. What's that about? What is that?
A $5 Indian? That's basically someone...
Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, that's someone who actually paid $5 to get on the Dawes Rose Commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I understand in recent times, because people don't understand context,
right,
they use things out of place, right? But a $5 Indian is someone that was paying money to actually get on tribal rolls. Like, they wanted to become an Indian. A lot of those people would be considered white people today.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what it is. So is there anything else that you are not forgetting that you want to go ahead and spread out? Yeah. So
I want to say this, regardless of people's viewpoints of science, and we'll debate that all day. You got people who never endingly debate flat Earth. Okay, that's a never ending debate whether the Earth is round or flat. But I want people to understand is that our people lost a lot of wealth in this country in a short amount of time. A lot of people in the South, a lot of my Southern family and friends, when they went through these great migrations, this was also a major land theft that occurred, right? A lot of this land that was going to be stolen was also done by eminent domain, right? There's actually articles that talk about the 1 million+ black families that lost land in the South. Well, how do you get 1 million black families owning land if everybody was just enslaved? Then that means that there's certain parts of the story that's a little bit of a vague brush that's being painted. Some people were, some people were not, right? So when you're dealing with that, your wealth is in your land, period. There's no self-business you can start. I'm a business owner. Ain't no business you can start. Ain't no scholarship, research that you can do that's going to make you rich like owning land, right? And this is something that I don't hear a lot of our pro-black and Pan-African and Afrocentric scholars do, is to talk about what happened after Reconstruction era and how did these black families end up in the cities. And after they come in the cities, they're going to start to slowly lose the economic wealth. I can tell you right now, Brownsville, Brooklyn wasn't always Brownsville, Brooklyn like how we know it today. Brownsville, Brooklyn at one point was middle class. That was a middle class area. My grandma would tell you, she moved in her buildings when they were first built. They were all 2-parent middle class households that went to Brownsville. Look at Brownsville today and tell me what you see, right? We were systematically attacked, right? Between the drafts, between the war on drugs, between the crime bills, stop and frisk, all these things are going to play a factor in attacking the so-called black American in these cities. As they're being attacked, their economic wealth is going to dwindle and decline. Now that there's a great migration in reverse. A lot of people don't know that, but you should know there is a reverse of the Great Migration. So these families that are 2 to 3 generations in the South are now returning back to their homelands. But what's happening? They're not returning back to their land. They're returning back as renters again. This is a further economic drain that's occurring, right? And that was on purpose. So that's why I say with genealogy and why it's so important is because I've personally seen people do their genealogy and they find government issued land patents for 1,100 acres, 600 acres, 300 acres. And it's issued to them and their family forever, and they didn't know it because they're in Chicago. They don't know they got land in Alabama that they left. But like I said, there was a lot of reasons why our people had to migrate from the South, right? Once again, if you don't, your DNA is fine. Okay, do your DNA, right? But what tells your true story is your genealogy, all right? I don't want anyone to make an excuse of why they can't know who they are. I don't want someone else who don't know their story tell you that you don't know your story. Because I find that there are people who actually know who they are. Like Jabari, he knows who he is. But they would paint this picture that others can't do what they just did. No, you can. You can do it. And I've busted plenty of people in the lies that the records are burned. We never gonna know. We ain't never gonna. You gonna know. Because if sa.neter can tell you that he has an indigenous heritage, and I'm sure sa.neter, your Taino side, I'm pretty sure there's so much you can learn about the Tainos, right? They're here, right in Washington Heights. There's so many Tainos around us. You like jerk chicken? It's Taino. You know, we can't engage in indigenous culture and then in the same breath say that to want to embrace it is a self-hate. I love indigenous people worldwide. Worldwide.
Let me ask you this last question, because
yes.
Are you a religious person?
I would say no, I'm not.
Do you believe in God?
I do believe in God. I do.
Who would you consider to be your God?
My God? I would say it's I would assume it's the God. Well, I know a lot of people.
Is it Jesus Christ?
No. Last I checked, he was the Son of God.
Yahweh?
No. I believe that.
What do y'all call God? I believe
I just believe he's the creator of all.
Okay. So you're not putting a name to it. You're just saying
I don't think there.
You know that there's something that exists outside of this, something that is more powerful.
Definitely, I definitely do believe that, and I don't put a gender on it either. I know a lot of people don't put a gender. If it's her, it's he. No, I do believe that there is a God. There is an all-seeing God. There is a higher power, a higher vibration that has made all these things possible. Even this interview right here, you know, despite me and Jabari, we might not see things eye to eye, but I'm sure we can agree that there is a higher power that made all this possible. I hope so.